was a California August in 82 when my mother gave birth to the Spam Tech crew. 13 years later had me looking at Linux. Programming made me stronger like Papa the Spinach. Now, people know that a DG carry weapons, but if that weapon is a nest you step in, we finish Contra with only one life. Finish Metal Gear 2 using only a knife, right? People might think that we're frontin', then they see all the news online that I'm putting. My rhymes flow just like my code, even though my source is owned by Sko. What about my Indian? I keep it low. See me on Gunbound, call me pro. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. No. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Waddy Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Waddy Crackers spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Waddy Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Waddy Crackers spam. I said my heart's wide open, goatsy, and my windows min like Ho Chi. I'm just another nerd, but I rap about it. Shit talk on the net, then I laugh about it. I've been caught slipping like the Star Wars kid when I'm on eBay sniping a bid. Catch me on a webcam like Numa Numa. See me at the club and I'm rocking Puma. Another net legend if you see me yodel. Spit a little something that's anecdotal. Tell me about the time the E-Bombs world stole your chop like I stole your girl. Catch me on Gen May, not something awful. Low tax would ban me, raffle. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Waddy Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Waddy Crackers spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Waddy Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Waddy Crackers spams. Yeah. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Waddy Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Waddy Crackers spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Waddy Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Waddy Crackers spams. Yeah.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGG. And as you just heard, the new intro to the show, that of course was YT Cracker with The Legend, doing a little beats from Legend of Zelda. Also, at the end of that, we went brilliantly right into Tommy Uyamiko's Geek It Away theme song. And joining me for this new adventure, this new era in geekdom, is none other than Zodak, founder and CEO of Geek It Away, the right hand of the frog. What's up, Mr. Zodak?
What's up, everybody? What's up,
shit.
chat?
That's blinded.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Also, joining us from across the pond, a hop, skip, and a jump away, is none other than the Haggis hero himself, Finbar Saunders. What's up, Finbar?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
We're doing great. We're doing fantastic. So, Blinded, which song is so fire? Because you didn't really...
The song for the intro.
Well, there was two. That's what I'm saying. You had the first song, which was from YT
right.
Cracker.
The YT Cracker song. That was... that might be his best song, in my opinion.
But Tommy's is also fire. It's not,
yeah, that one's a classic. That's a classic, yeah.
Yeah, I do love this new song that I dug up from our good friend YT Cracker. Big fan of the show. He said, "Go ahead, use all my music. You're the man. We love you. We love what you do." And I said, "Okay, sure." So we're just going through his catalog. I like his older music. His newer stuff is like Bitcoin and some like weird other things. But the older music is all like NES, 8-bit era based tracks.
Right.
With that said, how's your week been, Mr. Blinded?
Pretty good. I saw John Wick, so that was pretty cool.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, you should watch all 4 of them. There's no bad John Wick movie. If you like action, crazy stunts, lots of guns, fights, yeah, movie's pretty good. And the world building is interesting too. So, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else been going on in your life?
There is some stuff, but try not to talk about that on stream.
Look, I told you, if you need the money to take the girl to the abortion clinic, and I'm against it myself, but I'll be sure to let everybody know.
No, man.
Blinded's abortion fund, super chat.
Oh God.
I'll chip in for your abortion fund. Blinded, don't worry.
Oh God, we're gonna have to make a fucking tip jar now for that. Oh God.
I told you pull out. That's why you never let her on top, Blinded. It's too hard.
Oh boy. Oh man.
Last night, if you watched last night, you got a nice set of titties, a couple of sets of titties on the show.
Don't draw attention to it.
Well, I cut it out. What I was going to say is I trimmed out the last half, so it goes like we're going to go watch this trailer, and it just stops like, and the show just
ends.
Yeah. Jamie C said he's going to donate a hanger.
Oh fuck. Oh my God.
Scramble it up.
Yeah. You got any tall buildings where you're at in Canada?
Of course, I live
flights of stairs and then accidentally trip right.
Oh God. Well, we have the tallest building here in Toronto, so I'll just push her off the CN Tower.
No, just down the stairs.
I think I might go with the CN Tower.
Belly first.
Oh man.
Finbar, how's your week been?
Uneventful. I've been working all week. I haven't been really doing much else. I haven't seen any John Wick. I'll have to. I'm like you. I don't think you haven't seen any of them either, have you, Tony?
No, none of them.
I'm gonna have to watch them all because I hear they're good.
Yeah. I always hear good things about John Wick. Like I said, I had got offered the John Wick video game. They kept trying to push it. I'm like, what the hell is this John Wick shit? Like, and even I was like, man, this is like really cheesy. I was like, oh, this looks like a bad Keanu Reeves render. I was like, man, they're trying to steal his look, and I was like, oh, fuck.
No, man.
Should have given it to Blinded.
If I would have known.
Yeah, it's like a tactical game, like RTS.
Middy's he's volunteering to take care of the baby, so don't murder his.
Oh God. Well, you're gonna. It's more than one. It's more than one, man. So you're gonna have to deal with all that, Mitty.
I told you he's like the Canadian Johnny Appleseed, just spreading all over the country of Canada, knocking chicks up left and right.
It won't stop. It just happens.
He just looks at them. They get pregnant. He's that attractive. Now that we're thoroughly canceled for making abortion jokes in the first 10 minutes of the show, it's been a week. It's been one of those sort of just kind of lazy all week. Still haven't done any videos. I did a video today, which you'll notice is no longer on the channel because our friend Nerdette from Nerdette's Newsstand, she was once again rejected for monetization. And I was like, well, maybe, it might be some of your unlisted videos or something. Maybe there's something that's happening behind the scenes that you're not realizing. And she's like, well, I got no unlisted videos, right? And of course that triggered me because I'm like, yeah, you do. I know for a fact you have an unlisted video because I fucking commented on it the other day. She's like, no, I don't got no unlisted videos. So then I had to make a video showing that she had an unlisted video. And she's like, well, that was a members video. And then it became unlisted when they took out demonetization, right? I'm like, okay. But it's still unlisted, right? It's still on the channel as unlisted, right? You can't say you have no unlisted videos when there's an unlisted video, right? Am I crazy?
You are a bit crazy, but you're right. If that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Also, thank you, 56K Warning. Became a new member. That 99 cents will go towards a nice metal hanger. We're getting you there, Blinded. We're getting you there.
No, man.
Apparently, Vortex wants you to check your DMs.
Yeah, I was just telling him that because I'm on my phone and my Discord is logged onto my phone and not my iPad or laptop, so I can't actually see it because I'm using StreamYards.
Is this your baby mama? Is Vortex like, hey?
Yeah, he's got information about my baby mama, so you know.
That's why you're ignoring it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hoping it'll go away.
She's gonna take me to court, man. She might even call some, because you know I got multiple baby mamas, so
they never go away, man.
They never go away. No.
Fake your death.
Your name. Change your name.
To states.
Move a new country.
Yeah.
They always find you, man.
I mean, so I will be working on videos. Sunday is obviously always the day off. So on Sunday, I promise, I'm going to get some shorts together. I'm going to go ahead and get those all planned out for the week. I'll be like gameplay shorts. Then I'm going to go ahead and do what I said. Because Wednesday is going to be the big top 15 Amico Forever moments. So I'm going to go ahead and get that video all compiled and ready to go. So that way Wednesday we'll be like, here it is. Play the clips. Roll the clips.
Roll the clips.
But tonight we got a lot of things to talk about. Lots of stuff has happened. Now, of course, we're going to go over the Secret Invasion first look from Vanity Fair.
Right.
We're going to go over this. It's Tech Scrunch. I'm guessing they're trying to confuse you because TechCrunch is a big site. Tech Scrunch is trying to get your clicks. But they said that there's going to be a new mobile console from Microsoft. They want to compete with the Steam Deck.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this.
I didn't hear about this either.
It's an April Fool's. You be careful with this news today, don't you?
I'm not sure if it's from today. Let me see. I'll check the article right now, real quick.
Yeah, you better check that article.
We got one from Axios. 11 members of Congress argue Sony is unfairly hurting Xbox in Japan. So we got to talk about that. This is an April 1st article, the Steam Deck one. Let me see.
Because this sounds unlikely.
No, damn it.
It is? Yeah. That's what I figured.
They're not making any money off the Xbox. Why would they bother with it?
Yeah, why would they? Why? Yeah.
You know, the one that sounded like an April Fool's joke to me was the one about Sony. People arguing that Sony is unfairly hurting Xbox in Japan. That one apparently is real.
That does sound real. And also pretty stupid. It's always Sony, but, you know, never Nintendo, eh?
Yeah. Well, I guess because Nintendo is a Japanese company, but they don't have anything else outside really of the Nintendo console. Whereas Sony has the Sony Pictures, so they can kind of be like, well, if you don't play nice over there with your console, then we won't play nice over here with your movies. Whereas they don't really have that kind of leverage on Nintendo. E3 has been canceled, so we're going to talk about that.
Wow, what a surprise.
I never got to go. I was like always hoping that one day I'd be able to go to an E3. Never made it.
Damn.
Of course, we're going to be talking about the Intellivision Amico and how great that is. Some people are not aware, but today marks the end of the fiscal year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surprising, but not really, that suddenly, right before the end of the fiscal year, Amico Forever goes on hiatus. JC knows something we don't know.
What was his April Fool's prank that got Aston?
We'll
I'd
go
be
over
interested
that.
to know that.
That'll be part of later's discussion.
Okay.
But other than that, we got the polls to go over. We got the, to discuss all the things that we've asked you this week. Pretty sure I asked a couple of questions, right?
Think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think you did, yeah.
And then, since I got you gentlemen here, how many games are you guys up to? I know Finbar's pretty much out of this already. So.
I might be out of this soon because I'm nowhere close to finishing Cyberpunk, and it's been a month. So, and it's going to be like this for the rest of the year because now that I factored into it, Zelda is going to be the same amount of time, and then Starfield and probably Spider-Man. So I don't think this year I'm going to beat a lot of games because I would be playing games I actually want to play.
Oh, so you're saying I'm not playing games I want to play?
Maybe.
Well, I'm up to 15 games already.
Yeah, but surely there has to be a little bit of can I finish this quickly before you start one, right?
No, actually, no, there hasn't been.
Because I'm not sure I would take let's say Final Fantasy 16 came out, I wouldn't stick that in one of my games that I have to beat this year just because it'd take ages.
Well, I mean, even if it's like a 60-hour game, if I can squeeze in 1 hour a day, right, for 60 days, that's 2 months. You could beat it. And then obviously play some other games,
Nah.
Yeah, but you don't need to be averaging one a week, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're doing regular games that you know that are short.
As well as the one that's 60 hours long.
Yeah. Like, I'm not the ones that I beat are not the only games I'm playing, right?
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I mean, I usually would alternate between 2 games. I probably beat like 4 games within a month, if possible. But I mean, there's other things I'm doing right now, and also other projects that I'm working on. So, and I'm trying to watch movies and read stuff too. So
I don't find I'm able to do that. Alternate between 2 games. I forget the control scheme for whatever other game I've not been playing while I'm playing the other one.
The only thing I can do that with actually is with a Nintendo and an Xbox game. I can't do that with
Nintendo. This is what bothers me about the Nintendo is you go onto the Switch and you end up pressing back button
yes
by mistake.
Or no, for me
that.
it's because I'm on Xbox and I think A is B or the other way around, right? Yeah, that always like trips me up. So I'm like, oh my god.
I don't understand. You guys are that like illiterate of controllers. Dumb. I don't want to say dumb. But...
No, we because we're using multiple controllers.
I use multiple controllers too, but what I do is I don't go by what's actually on there, right? Like
if they tell me A, right? Sometimes if I'm playing a game for long on Xbox, I'll think it's the bottom button.
That's why, but the Xbox has colors, right? Just remember where the colors are.
Yeah, but I'm not looking at the colors.
But you should know. You should know. Like I know that triangles on top, X is on bottom, squares on the left.
Yeah, but Tony, I just said I'm on all 3. You only play on PlayStation.
Yeah,
but I'm playing on PlayStation and alternating between consoles.
Forgetting about the colors and their natural reaction is to the lowest button on the joypad is confirming the one to the farthest right is always go back.
Yeah.
See, right. But not always. Yeah.
That around. And that
for me, it's if I play on Switch a lot, then it's going to be trippy when I play on Xbox because then I think B is at the bottom.
I could see how this could confuse Finbar. He's older like I am. You're supposed to be young and adaptable and just.
Well, I'm playing on multiple different things.
That's what I'm saying. Even if you're playing multiple, you should be adaptable, right? You should know your brain should switch into Switch.
No, if I'm playing
Xbox mode, switch into.
Well, if you're playing multiple things multiple times, it does trip you up.
It sounds like
you just said the control schemes. Yeah, control schemes sometimes tends to trip me up if I've been playing another game. Especially it's the same type of game. It's like a platformer. Or if it's a shooter, I'm like, fuck.
The only time I get tripped up is
also this only happens at the beginning of when I play a game.
But you know what trips me up is when you're talking about being universal, right? The bottom button, the X button, whatever's on the bottom, is always jump, like at a platformer, right?
Yeah.
And then when some
Not
company
always.
decides, that's what I'm saying. Like most of the time, it's like 90%. It's that other 10 when they're like, "Hey, we're gonna make the run on the right jump," and like, no,
It was like that with
natural.
Kirby. Kirby, it was like A was jump, and it pisses me off because I'm like, B is jump.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Yeah, like you're playing the same genre. Sometimes it's on the same system, and it's like, what the fuck? Like that's what I mean.
It's like the one you use the most, right? So if the game is basically like a shooter, so then the X or the
Right.
bottom button should be the one closest to your thumb, the most natural, the one that you push the most,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's why I can't do two at once. I'm with CM Retro there. He's saying he only plays one at a time, but he's a real gamer. I'm not.
Well, for me right now,
So,
like if I'm trying
He's a
to
pro.
100% complete a game, I can only play it once at a time because it's like I have to go through everything, right? That's why I'm like, I don't think I'll make that mark because I already set my sight on be like 100%ing a game, multiple games this year. That I already was going to do that regardless.
Yeah. Well, CM says he plays one game at a time, but because I have 3 days off a week, it's not unusual for me to put in like 16 hours a day. Wow.
That's way too much. Holy shit. Yeah. No, I can't do 16 hours a day. I can do maybe 5 hours a day, but then that's pushing it. Because there's other things that it's like I can use during that free time, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's actually hard having multiple hobbies, and like it's way too hard.
Well, 56 says blinded having trouble with 4 buttons. Meanwhile, I'm using a keyboard with blank keycaps. Damn, it's calling you out.
Damn. I mean, that's actually not that hard though, because if you're typing or if you're playing a game, you kind of know a keyboard, but it's different with the buttons and just playing a game. It feels, I don't know. To me, that's like two different scenarios.
Well, I'm up to 15 games now. Obviously, I went through Mega Man 1 all the way through 5. Mega Man 2 doesn't count because I beat that as a child, but I did actually still beat it. So technically 16 games, but only 15 count for the challenge here. Pumpkin Jack, Maneater, Neptunia, Cross, Senran Kagura, Mortal Kombat 11, Castlevania 3, Donuts and Justice, Bats, Bloodsucker, Anti-Terror Squad, Midnight Suns, Thunder Flash, and Thunder Paw. So there you go. And I'm working on, I just got, Dielfeld Chronicles and Various Day Life. Those were on sale, so I picked those up. What about Hogwarts Legacy? I haven't beat that yet.
You never finished it, did you?
No.
He hasn't even finished Elden Ring.
I have not.
That was from last year.
Well, what happens is I end up starting games. Like I'm going to stream them, and then I'm like, okay. I have a couple days off, but I'm like, oh shit, I don't really want to stream where it's not really convenient to stream. I was like, well, I can't play because I started on stream. So then I just put it to the side, and then what ends up happening is I never get back to it.
Well, you only played
the Elden Ring is a long game.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, what was Finbar saying? Sorry.
I'm saying he was playing Hogwarts Legacy only out of a protest because he's a TERF.
I'm surprised you even like Hogwarts Legacy. That game is like one of the most barren open world games I've ever seen.
Well, I haven't got that far into it. I only got I think what was it? We played like 6 or 7 hours worth on stream.
Oh wow, okay.
It was fun, like the first 6 or 7 hours that I played. But I mean, it's not great by no means.
Right. I mean, it's some open world games. It's like, fuck, dude. When you have too many open world games, it's like, how am I supposed to play all of this and like do the fucking content, especially if there's side quests? It's like, well, fuck, like.
Yeah. Well, that's why for this contest or for this little challenge, or whatever you want to call it, it's just beat the game, right? It's not 100% the game. It's not like get the platinum trophy. It's just beat the game.
Yeah, if this was 100% everything, this would take 52 fucking years. Never mind 52 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, especially like some of the games, like I.
But it doesn't. Yeah, to me sometimes like if the game doesn't have a side quest, like it's fine. But like for Cyberpunk, I'd be missing on the content, and it's like if I beat the game and then I move on, I eventually come back, I'd be kind of like, it doesn't feel right when I do stuff like that.
Yeah, well, like for
So I already moved
Cyberpunk,
on.
that makes sense. But like, say, like for Batman, right? Do I really need to like spend 40 hours
Yeah.
getting every
Not
trophy?
not the trophies, but you still have to do significant amount of side quests. So it
Right.
would add up to
No,
40.
but like the last Batman, was it Arkham City?
Arkham Knight.
They force you Arkham Knight, right? They force you to do side quests in order to unlock the final quest, right?
No, I don't
yeah, they
think they've
do.
ever done that.
Yeah, they do. I
There's-
played the game on stream. It
I've
literally
played the
says-
game. There's
I
certain
literally
side
played it.
quests.
It literally says now do X amount of the side quest shit in order to unlock that final mission.
That's what a lot of games do, by the way.
All I
That
was saying
doesn't really.
is that one does that. It forces you. You don't have to do all of them, but you have to do so.
You don't. It's actually just like a time thing where it's like you're just supposed to do something for a little bit, and then you go back to it.
No, because
Cyber-
I literally beat a couple of them, and it was still like unlock one more. It had a little like X out of 12 or something that you had to do. I played the game like what, not too long ago. Either way, it's not 100%. We're not going for the platinum. There's a lot of games that have silly platinum requirements. Dynasty Warriors is notorious for this. It's like get every single hidden weapon, but that every weapon is like a 50-hour quest just to get one, and you have like 60 characters to do that with.
I mean, like I said, last year, naturally, I beated 52 games. A lot of the games did have more than at least 60 hours. So it's like, I don't actually like beating a game just because I can quickly beat it. Like, I actually still want to enjoy the game and get something out of it. So, and like I said, this year has too many games coming out that I would actually buy. Like this month, Jedi comes out, and then just a couple weeks later, Tears of the Kingdom comes out. So it's like, well, I'm gonna have to space out the games or buy one after when I beat the other, because I also don't like buying games that when I have like a backlog, right? So it's like I have to beat a certain amount of games, and because I'm like behind, then I can't buy a certain game.
Yeah, buying them at full price when you don't intend to play them right away is pointless.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't like some of these games that I'm playing. I bought before, or I bought them when they were on sale. Now I'm getting to them, and then games that are coming out now, I'll wait till they go on sale again. Right now, 56 says just play games with Sidekick Max. I would, except for Sidekick Max is a picky bitch. Okay, yeah, I like certain types of games. Like I'll be like, hey, let's play some Street Fighter. It's like, nah, I don't want to play fighting game. Well, let's play this action game. Nah, I don't play that. Now he'll play like fucking Moving Out or what the fuck's that? The cooking one, right? But he don't want to play like Overcooked. Yeah, but he doesn't want to play like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, any competitive game, any action game. I'm like, what do you want to play? Like, what? I have 500 games in my library, and there's like 3 of them that he's like, yeah, let's play those. He wants to play fucking Minecraft all the time.
Yeah, I get dragged into either Minecraft or Roblox. I can't stand Roblox.
Yeah, bribe Max with Fortnite bucks.
Yeah. Fortnite bucks.
Nier Automata has 26 endings, and there's one that you only get one shot at.
Right.
Well, doesn't that's the one that like erases your game or something, right?
I don't know about that, but
it erases your game.
Yeah, there's one ending where I'm pretty sure it's Nier Automata. There's one ending where when you get to it, it's like, do you want to help out somebody or something? It gives you this like weird speech. And then what it ends up doing is erasing your save data.
What if you screw up, or it just erases it? Is this if you screw it up?
I think no, actually, I remember. There is actually a way to back out of it. No, because now I'm remembering something like that.
I think you could. I think you could like save it and then like take your save data and like import it somewhere else and then play the game to get the ending and then bring your save data back over.
Right.
But the natural progression, because it's like it's about like helping and like global togetherness or some bullshit, whatever like the message of the game is. So it's like, do you want to sacrifice yourself to help other people? And it's supposed to be that you're like helping people during their little ending like thing. And then
I remember Kojima was talking about a game that if you die once it bricks the game. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's crazy. That sounds like some Kojima shit.
Yeah.
Fuck with you. Oh my god. That's crazy.
Yeah,
What happened?
it deletes all your save data. The
Right.
one ending.
Okay.
Right.
CM Retro says no. The email super secret boss, you get one shot. Oh, I didn't know. That's even a different one. Yeah. Either way, I'm up to 15 games. These losers can't hang. They're too busy flying.
We should have made actually the rules more tougher. Actually,
Tougher?
yeah,
Well,
that's what we really should have done. Because if you're just like running through a game, like, is it really fair? Because you can easily run through a bunch of games that are really short.
Well, that was why part of the challenge was it's games that you've never beaten before, right?
Right.
So
that was what McMahon were doing. We were working off of some list. We found the easiest NES games list. We were working through that. I mean, I gave up.
Right. Yeah.
So
like,
to show.
Like that's what I mean. Like,
but that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally just playing games that are in my backlog. I bought them with the intention of playing them. They looked good. I wanted to play them, and now I'm working through them. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, but you're picking the easier, shorter times, because if you were to run through Elden Ring, that would take away a lot of your time, right?
No, because I'd just do like I said. I'd play Elden Ring like 2 or 3 hours and play an easier game.
Then why don't you do Elden Ring?
Oh, because I'm doing something else on the side of these games right now.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Why are you so determined for me to finish the Elden Ring blinded?
Because it's a long game, right? If you pick longer games, it's going to eat away at your time, right?
Yeah, but how do you know? Again, how do you know I'm not playing? I just told you I got Dealfield Chronicles, and I got.
Well, you bought the game. Realistically, if you bought the game last year, like you should have beaten the game by now.
Now I'm on a time limit of how long. You don't beat it within a year. You can't play it. Like fucking done.
Well, I mean, I think it's weird. I give my friends shit where it's like, if you bought a game full price
I have like
after a year,
well,
why did you buy Elden Ring? Play the games you already have.
I thought I was going to stream it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to stream Elden Ring, and I was all excited, and then the excitement wore off, and I was like, I don't want to stream this anymore.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to justify buying a game when you have a bunch of games on your backlog.
Well, when the government just gives me free money, what do you want me to do? Just not
save it? Do something else with it?
You see what's happening with the banks? They're all been collapsing. I would have lost all my money
in your house.
In my house. So when the paper money's not worth anything, in 5 years, when the United States government has collapsed and all the money that you saved is not worth the paper it's printed on, you guys are all going to be saying,
at that point, we would be dead.
I should have did what you said. I should have just spent it and had fun at the time, right?
Yeah, I think
that would be anarchy.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
No, but I will lord it over all of you. As we're dying, as Mad Max is going through the fucking desert, killing the fucking terrorists, I'm gonna be like, remember when I said you guys should have spent that money? And you're like, shut up, Tony, we're all starving. I'm like, oh, give a fuck. Yeah, I should have played games.
Eating dog food.
Yeah. Shut up.
Instead, we'll be eating fucking game cases. Yeah. Oh my god.
Look, CM Retro says lots of new FMV games are like 2 to 4 hours. You could run through those. I still got to finish.
Good idea. Yeah.
But it's not you genuinely liking or playing the game. Maybe you might like it, but it's still like, I don't know, it feels a little cheap.
I played Man of Medina
for the challenge.
I liked it. It was good. What was the other one that I played?
Yeah, but this is. Man of Medina is like 5 hours long.
Yeah. And I played it last year. That's why it's not counting for this year. But this year I started playing the other one. What's the something of Ashes? Man of Ash, some shit.
We should have the rule should have been it should have been like games that were like over 15 hours. That's what next year we should have added more specific rules and stuff.
I mean, I understand it sounds good, but then like half of my library wouldn't count. You're like, oh, we can't play any of those Mega Man games because
there's PlayStation Plus, Game Pass.
Yeah, but now I'm going to have to get a whole bunch of new games just to do the challenge.
The rules this year caused a lot of arguments, so we really don't want to be
adding new ones.
Adding new rules. Should do the.
I'm just saying, because now that I'm
52-year
playing
challenge.
deep into this game, where I'm like 100+ hours into the game, it's like I'm glad I didn't rush through the
That's
game.
why you're saying this, because
Yeah.
you're stuck.
Yeah,
with
that's what I said.
Cyberpunk.
Oh no, I've been arguing that the whole time. I'm not hiding from it.
But because Tony's pulling away, we need to. You want to try and drag him back, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
You want to
if you want to like
Elden Ring.
some of the games to really like hit home, well, why not play a game that is long, right? So then it's more impressive when you get to 52 games at the end of the year.
I swear to God, and I know he's not on the show anymore, but like, you know, Gary was trying to make that argument.
Was he?
Yes.
I should have said something.
Because he even said, he goes, I'm going to play good games. When you look at the games on the list, I'm going to have the best games on there.
He did
These guys
say
are going to have shitty games. And we were all like, what is it?
That's my argument is more so you're pick a game that you're like, you know, that it's a long game, right?
I was told
like not
that
whether it's
Castlevania
quality
3
or
was gonna
not.
be a long game, and I beat that in a game.
Who
Sorry,
even
I'm
said
sorry,
that
I'm
though?
good, Gary.
But the thing is, like, if you look at the play, you can look at a play time, the average of the game, right?
Yeah, well, look,
So it was a shorter game. It's just that it's a hard game, right?
like Pumpkin Jack, I got for free. What do you want me to do? Like, not play it?
I'm not saying you can't play it, but what I'm trying to say is you eventually have to play a game. Like if like, let's say 70% or 80-90% of the list is short games, like, yeah, wouldn't that kind of be like, well,
they're games though.
not impressive.
Yeah,
but it's not as impressive. It's not as impressive as I know, but it's still a challenge, right? So it's like,
I swear to you, you guys want to put all kind of respect. I just said,
well, it should be. It should
I'm
be.
pulled out of it, to be honest.
What?
Well, yeah, because Finbars probably would agree with what I'm saying, in part because it's
I
like,
would, but I would have never started the challenge
Yeah.
if that was the case. If you'd laid these rules down, I'd have went, I'm out right away. Because me and
Right.
Hammy did it. Me and Hammy did it the dishonorable way, whereas Gary was doing it the honorable way, and it broke Gary. So
yeah, I was doing it the honorable way. I was just playing games where I'm like,
and it
well, I'm
sounds
gonna
like
play
it's
this game
breaking you.
anyway.
I'm
Sounds
playing
like it's
games.
breaking you.
Well, yeah,
I just wanna play.
because I'm enjoying this game, and I bought Metroid Prime, the remaster. I didn't play that game, and it's like, well, because I'm spending all my time playing with Cyberpunk and have other things, right?
It's your choice.
Can we?
I'm not saying no. What I'm trying to say is that like you did beat 52 games last year,
Yeah,
right?
53.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, if you want it to be more impressive because it's a challenge, right? You have to do it the honorable way. If you do it the cheap way, then
I didn't go to any list. I'm just literally just pick games that are on my backlog that I wanted to play.
but you haven't. This is what I would have done, right? Organize, because I did do this for games that I was going to play anyway. Organize the time where it's like, okay, this game is like 60 hours, so it's like maybe I could fit this here at this month, right? Or this is short, so then I can play these back to back.
How do you know I haven't done that? You're just
You didn't say, but you didn't say.
April. I don't want to give my strategy away because I'm going to hit 52 and you guys are going to be all pissed.
Well, how can we be pissed if you hit 52 last year? Because I said 52.
You're not going to hit 52 and then you're going to be pissed when
You're
I
right.
hit 52 and I lowered it over you.
Well, I know why I'm not hitting, because I said that there's games coming out that I would spend 100 hours in.
Maybe if you were better at games.
We should just cancel this.
If it's 100, if I'm playing, no, that doesn't make sense. It's not that I'm bad at the game. I want to play the game as much as possible to complete it 100% because I actually enjoy doing it. Right? That's why I someone in the chat has to like. I want to see what people are thinking on this.
They agree with you. I agree with you. But the rules as they were laid out was 52 games that you haven't played before.
Well, look at how long have you played Cyberpunk? Honestly,
almost 90 hours. Almost 90 hours.
Okay,
yeah.
So according to how long to beat, it says completionist should take.
It's not even
3.
Yeah, I know.
Hours. Completionist.
Right.
So you should only be 13 hours away from completely completing the game. Are you? Do you feel like you're 13 hours from getting everything? So then obviously you're fucking around driving, just reading slow. You know,
Well, I'm reading the logs.
You're probably playing the game, and then you're going to go eat, and then you're like, oh, someone's on the phone, or I gotta piss, to take a shit, and then you wander around your house, knock up some chick, come back, start play again.
I mean, it's the average time, but I'm spending my time in the game, consuming what the game has to offer. Like, I do read the shards. They have shards, right? It's a role playing game. Like, why would I not read the lore of the game? That's why I like the game. Well,
it says the slowest time on that is logged in here is 456 hours on Xbox One. Can you beat that? Do you think you're going to get under 456 hours before you complete it?
Yeah, I could probably do that. Under 400? Yeah.
How many days is that?
But also, too, that might be that person playing multiple playthroughs, because that's how. Because I told you one. There's just one? Okay. Well, then, yeah, I mean, I could probably do it under, because I'm completing most of the gigs.
The fastest
and I already completed the NC hustles and all that stuff.
The fastest time just to get the main game.
Right, the main story.
On PC was 10 hours.
Yeah. That's probably the main story.
That's what I just
said. The main story is short.
I literally said just the main story.
Right. But I'm not playing just the main story. That was my whole argument, is why it's like, if I were to play just the main story, I would be losing out on so much of the content. And also, too, you would lose out on a certain endings if you do that.
The average on the main story plus, not 100%, right? But the main story plus is like 60 hours. So again, I don't know what you're doing or how you're playing the game.
I just explained it to you.
He says it before. He was driving around on his bike.
Yeah, before
walls.
Yeah,
sometimes I would do that.
Well, that's not really playing the game. That's just dicking around.
Well, yeah, because I can't play on stream.
That's the kind of game it is, though, isn't it?
It's not. I'm doing either side. I just explained to you. I'm doing side quests. There's cyber psychosis.
Traffic light.
If there's a stoplight, I would stop.
He's following the rules of the road.
No, because that's a serious thing. No, it like logically thinking, if you were to not stop, like in my point of view, right, morally, then anybody can do that, right? Just because no one's watching doesn't mean you could get away with it.
Dude,
I'm serious about shit like that.
When I'm walking down the street and there's a red light and there's no cars coming, I cross the street.
When you're talking about driving, you just asked me about driving.
But he's talking about in the game.
Oh, in the game? There's no fucking stoplights in the game. I thought you were talking about real life.
No.
I thought the comment was about real life.
We're talking about you driving around in the game.
That comment came way before we were talking about driving in the game. This is what I do in Cyberpunk, right? I explained this, right? First off, there's gigs. So each there's like different fixtures in the game. They give you different mini missions. And then you have the hustles, and then you also have the cops telling you there's a crime, right? So because sometimes we were streaming, and there's also another thing too, right? Like you have to pick to either stream or play a game sometimes for me, right? So it's like you know what I mean? Like there's other, and I even said I have other hobbies than just playing a game.
Well, masturbating really isn't a hobby, but
no, going to the gym. I mean, masturbating is not. I know it's a joke, but it's like, no, it is hard.
Well, hey, I'm glad that I sent you.
No, man.
But what I'm saying is, you're enjoying your game, obviously, at 56 cases. Right. But I am a hit and quit it, right? I go in there, I get it done. That's fun for me, right? Dicking around in the game.
Is it really
fun?
At that point, we would just have to take you at face value, but okay.
What do you think? I'm not enjoying it. I'm like, fuck, I got to play this game. Like, I'm all mad.
Well, I'm like, it's part of the challenge, right? Would you play this game regardless of the challenge?
That's why they're all on my backlog. I bought them because I wanted to play them.
All right, then.
I do the same thing. I've got a backlog of hundreds of games, but life just gets.
How do I even see a stoplight? I'm Daredevil.
He's got a really long.
You can feel it.
He's got a really long stick that he puts out the window. You can feel the light.
56K warning. his comment was way before. So now I'm confused what he was even talking about because I thought he was talking about.
Because I mentioned like 3 or 4 times.
No,
he wouldn't be asking you. He wouldn't be asking.
He was
you, do you
no. That was way. But you guys have to remember the chat is behind us, right? So that comment came before we even mentioned driving.
But you have to just naturally assume that everybody does obey the law in real life. Like, did you?
Right.
Yeah. Just randomly ask. Hey,
no, if no, but that's actually a thing though. If there's nobody, there's no car or crosswalk at a red light or a stop sign, you could technically, I mean, not at a stop light, but at a stop sign.
56K Warning, if you're still in the chat, were you talking about the game or were you talking about real life when you asked him if he stops?
Right.
There you go.
Of course, he's going to say real life now, isn't he?
Or he could throw me a loophole and just say,
be like, I was talking about Mario.
Because you have to remember the chat when we see it. Because I seen his comment. He's talking about open world games. Okay then.
Because I've tried that nonsense where you stop at the traffic lights in Grand Theft Auto and I still get arrested. So
no, man.
Now I just run the traffic lights down.
No, I don't even stop at a light in the game.
I just run everybody over.
No, he was talking about when I was driving around. Yeah, I don't stop. What I was doing when on stream, right? Because again, I wanted to listen and like read the shards, so I couldn't do certain quests when we were streaming, right? So then I just had to stop. And also Tony told me to stop, so that's why I don't play the game on stream anymore.
Blame me.
Yeah, I don't
blame me for asking you to not.
I listen. I was like, okay, a fair point.
I don't play games on stream either.
It's just either me like. I mean, when you're talking to people, I mean, I usually do something unless we're out eating or something, right?
All right. I think we've wasted 47 minutes.
Yeah, we wasted so much.
Either way, I'm up to 15 games. I'm enjoying my time. There's a couple of games that I haven't finished, and that's part of the other thing that Blinded really didn't hit on. Some of these games I did start last year, right? So
right.
These games were a little longer, but I just finished them this year.
Oh, so you count these ones if you complete these that you started last year? You're going to count these as
that was another that I think Hammockman was talking about how you could technically have a bunch of games that were unfinished and just run through them all. Yeah, the only game that I haven't that I'm like halfway through is Mass Effect 2, and that's another long game. So
Okay, so here's a question: the because I got Mass Effect. What is it, like the definitive collection?
Yeah, the legendary.
Legendary. I haven't played it yet. I don't know. Does the game is it broken up into 3 different games? Or
yeah, it's broken. It has to be broken up in 3 different games. It is, but you transfer your file from game to game.
Okay, so it would be 3 games then, right?
Yeah, it is 3 games.
No, I'm saying it would count in the challenge as 3 games.
Yes. Because that's how the definitive edition is just the up-res. It's like a remaster, and then they collected it all together.
Is that the 3 games together? Is it the Legendary Edition?
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Is it? Okay.
Yes. They didn't bundle in the other one because it has nothing to do with the trilogy.
Right.
Because it is on Game Pass. I may have to have a look.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking because like Hitman, right? The way Hitman has it has the Hitman, Hitman 2, Hitman 3.
Right. It's not like they recently put out an update for Hitman.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking. Let me finish.
Because the games were similar, and so they kind of like merged it. But you can't really do that with Mass Effect.
Yeah, you could, because you could have where it ends off and then just keep going.
You really
the game just fucking going.
No, you can't, because gameplay wise the games are different. They've added things like 1 versus 2 is completely different. Well, like I said, it's a remaster.
I assume there's a tutorial in every game, right?
Yes.
It would just be the same again. You would just go.
No, it's not, because the shooting in 1 was really bad, and the second one they upgraded it to be almost a little bit more like a third-person shooter.
But what I'm saying is, what's the difference between stopping the game and then picking the second one versus the game just goes, okay, now we're going to start the second game without you having to like stop and like load up?
Because gameplay, I just explained it to you. The gameplay has been tweaked. Hitman, the gameplay was not tweaked. It was very similar.
You know what a CD changer is?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so imagine if I had all 3 games in a CD changer, and as soon as the one ended, the second CD change just changed to the next CD and started playing that one. It would be the same game. It would still be 2. It would still start the same way. Have the
Okay, now you're getting into semantics. I don't like it's a different game. You just load. You go to when the game ends. You go to the screen and then you press 2, and then
That's
that's
what I'm
it.
saying. Instead of just going to the screen and going, okay, now start 2.
You
it just does it on its own.
It's
right?
not. You asked if you asked if it was similar to Hitman, and I explained why it's not similar to Hitman. Because the 3 Hitman games are actually very similar, so you can merge the games together.
They're not merged,
right?
Have you played the new update for the Hitman? They're not merged.
I haven't played the new update, but what they did with the update makes sense. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, Mass Effect,
it's not merged.
It's right? Not okay, whatever.
It actually says this is Hitman 2, right? You go to the menu, and it has the missions for each.
Okay, so then what is the difference then? So we could clear it up then.
That's all I was asking is if there was a menu that you back out, or if the game just goes like you finished one and it just automatically started the next one. That's all I was asking.
Now I have to look because now I like the semantic rabbit hole doesn't make sense now.
Well,
because why would we start? I know we argue about bullshit, but it's like I didn't get what was the point of bringing that up because it's like then yes, it's like have you played a game with a collection? It works the same. You go. There's a title screen, and then you have the option to pick the game that you want to play. But I'm pretty sure Hitman it was a little different.
Yeah, because you have to beat the first game to be able to pick the mission from the second game. So then, does that make it one game? Since you're forced to beat Hitman 1 to play Hitman 2. Does it make it one game now, or is it still 2 separate games? Because you can't play 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. Right, you can't play 3.
Yeah, you can't play 2 and 3.
So you have to play 1. So now it's like it's narratively.
So then connected. That's the difference because you can play the Mass Effect games in whatever order you want.
Okay. That's all I was asking because we decided that Hitman is 3 different games, even though they merged it and did the little funky shit.
Right.
I was just wondering if it counts as 3 games because it is one box, right?
Is there not 3 separate title screens though?
I don't know. I haven't started it up. That's what I was asking.
I would say it's a separate game if it's got its own title screen.
Mass Effect?
No, Hitman.
Hitman, yeah. I don't know about Hitman because I didn't play it.
One title screen.
Then I would count it as one game.
But they were 3 games.
There were 3 games.
Right. But it's not anymore.
They just got rid of the 2
basically we just need to try and claw Tony back a little bit here, so let him complete 3 games and call it one.
Tony's not being in there separate games. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Mass Effect games are separate games.
I just they're like 60-hour games, right? Would you be impressed if I beat all 3 of those?
In what frame of time?
Yeah, that's
not really. If you could be Elden Ring, I'm not gonna be impressed. I was just making an argument.
Would my list be a little more impressive if I beat Mass Effect games?
No, my argument was if you had 52 games and most of them were like 60-hour games, I would say that's pretty impressive. But it's also kind of a cell phone.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like what kind of no lifer are you?
I've seen people do that, so it is a mix, but still.
Doors and neck, right?
Yeah, it was on Twitter, so yeah.
Anyway,
if I could do that, if I could complete 52 60-hour games, you should be impressed that I'm still alive at the end of it.
56
I'm fairly sure.
Challenge should be beat the hardest game so you can clear it.
Yeah,
that should have also would have been, yeah. But then also that what?
There's that one game. What is it like? Something Zenigata or something. Like nobody's figured out how to beat it. There's like a whole list of trophies, and no one's got any of the trophies.
Damn.
Is it designed like that, or is it just fucked up?
Well, some people think that like it's a troll by the developer. Some people think that it's just you just haven't figured it out yet. It's like really cryptic. So who knows? Some people think that that's not the real game, but that's like you have to do something to like the game's hidden. It's one of those type things. Kind of like that stupid one with Kanye West. Was it Kanye Quest?
Kanye Quest.
Yeah, where it turns out that underneath the game there's another game,
Oh man.
and it was like connected to some like cult or something.
Oh god.
Well, if it's connected to Kanye, it's suspect, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was so bad because you play this game, right? Kanye Quest.
Now I have to look this up.
And apparently, like it says, we're gonna call your house now and recruit you to the fucking cult or something.
Kanye Quest 3030.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, this decade old.
What is that? Turned out to be some kind of anti-Semitic recruitment.
No, not. Maybe if it came out this year, yeah.
Yeah, he's very changeable, isn't he?
They made an Ooh, this is.
I'm telling you, it's about like ascensionism, and like it wants you to be ascended, and there's like an ARG like hidden underneath it or something.
Right, and you fight other rappers. I see Doom.
Yeah, but that's the top of the game. That's the surface game. Right?
That's a surface level game, right?
Then there's a section where you go to like a computer terminal and ask you like, do you want to ascend? And then it takes you to like the meta game. Like, really weird.
You could fight Tupac and Biggie in the game. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm gonna have to check this out. Yeah, this sounds pretty weird.
There's all kind of videos on YouTube about it. That's how I know. Anyway, 57 minutes in. We spent an extra 10 minutes after I said that we spent too long.
It's an emotive subject, isn't it?
We should call the show Semantics with Geeks now.
With
That's
Tony.
what it should be. Yeah.
Tony argues semantics.
Because we just get into the nitty gritty.
I'm autistic. Be patient. All right. This is from Vanity Fair. It's from yesterday, so we know it's not an April Fool's article.
Oh, God.
It is.
Better not be an April Fool's.
Well, it is Marvel, so it might be a joke regardless.
Samuel L. Jackson's eye-opening new Marvel series. Why he has no eye patch. Where are you seeing Amelia Clark's mystery character before? And 10 new images from the shape-shifting alien saga. So, I mean, why doesn't he have an eye patch? That's kind of weird.
The cat stole it from him this time.
Well, was he not wandering about without one?
I could have swore he had the eye patch in all of his appearances except for Captain Marvel.
I don't know. I think when he was rocking his bum look like he's got in that photograph, then I'm sure he had no eye patch.
Wait, actually, have we? I'm trying to remember because have we even seen Nick Fury in Phase 4?
Yes.
Where?
What phase is? Damn it!
No, the end of Spider-Man was the end of Phase 3.
Yeah, that was Phase 3, right?
I think that was the last time we saw him.
That was the last time we saw him. Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's been quite a while then.
He's in space, isn't he?
That's where he was, yeah. At
right.
the end of the Spider-Man movie.
Then they got a lot to explaining of where he's been. What he's been doing. Right.
All right. So it goes on. Who are you really? That question is at the core of Marvel's new series, Secret Invasion, which follows Samuel L. Jackson's spy master, Nick Fury, as he uncovers a conspiracy to quietly install double agents into positions of power around the world. In the traditional espionage story, these might be operatives from hostile rival nations, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the infiltration has an otherworldly origin, shape-shifting green-skinned extraterrestrials known as Skrulls, who were good guys in the last time you saw them and were being portrayed as illegal alien immigrants who just want to get along, but somehow now they're villains who can perfectly simulate any human being at will. Figuring out who is who becomes especially daunting. I know in the comics they had a few characters that could instantly tell who was who, right? Like Wolverine could smell somebody and he would know if they were a Skrull. Which made no sense, right? Because they go through this whole thing and they're like, secret invasion. They're like, oh, Wolverine can sense people because of his smell. And like Spider-Man, spider sense would go off. And, Doctor Strange and his magic. And then you go, well, then how are all these characters Skrulls that supposedly have been here for years, right? Like, why did Wolverine just now notice that Marvel Girl was a Skrull? not like
Aftershave.
5 years ago.
Aftershave.
No, but you know,
That's a
you know
good
what I'm
one. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you've been fighting alongside Cyclops for 3 years. Turns out he's been a Skrull the whole time. You're like, well, why didn't you notice at any point in time, Wolverine? Did you just not give a fuck?
Well, if he smelled like that for so long, it's not like it's just a.
But the comic goes into detail. It'll be like someone will show up and like he's a Skrull. He's like, oh shit, he could smell Skrulls. He knows instantly. And you're like, oh yeah, but all those characters that they introduced and said were Skrulls, like the Scarlet Witch and stuff. You're like, why didn't he notice that at any point in time in the last 5 years of comic history?
Because it's fucking comic books.
Yeah.
Well, they should have just said they should have just said like when they turn into humans, they change their sweat glands or some shit, right? So that he couldn't smell them. Just say that Wolverine couldn't smell what a Skrull smelled like, and then you would. And
then like 20 years later, that has like some problem or whatever.
Well, all of it has problems because again, you have Doctor Strange. He should be able to sense people. Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, like continuity errors like happen all the time in Marvel,
right?
Whether
Especially
they like it or not.
Yeah.
But this isn't a continuity error. This is a whole fucking idea error, right? It's like, hey, we're gonna take a whole bunch of characters and say that they've been Skrulls. Oh yeah, for how long? For like the last 10 years.
Well, wouldn't that be continuity error?
No, because this isn't like a mistake in continuity. Continuity goes through. It's just like they decided to change something.
Or a retcon, I should say.
Yeah, it'd be more like a retcon.
Yeah, a retcon. That's what I meant.
This is why that doesn't make sense as well, because you were talking about. I think we were talking about it with Nerd yesterday. The thought bubbles.
His nose hairs mutated to smell them. There you go.
You can hear what they're thinking, can't you? All these years, and they've not. Yeah. There's not been anything in their head saying, "I'm really feeling this. Get these lot."
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it's continuity errors. It's it just depends. There's nothing really mapped out, is it? Over 10 years, it's just the powers writing it at the time.
Yeah, the editors are supposed to figure out, right? But then the thing is, it's like, well, do you tell the story or do you like beholden to fucking continuity, right? That's really the problem.
Well, all they had to do was create an event, right? Like, so have a new event where a bunch of heroes go off into space or something, right? And then during that new event is when you have the switch with the Skrulls, right? So then it's not like 30 years of history or 5 years or 10 years. It's just like, oh, it's just the last 3 months. And you know from the beginning, as the reader, that they're Skrulls, but it's the audience, it's the other heroes.
I think that would take away from the twist, though, right?
But it's not really a twist. You're like, this is stupid. Like, okay.
I mean, the reason why Secret Invasion was kind of cool was because there was someone was a Skrull and no one knew, right?
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah, but
right.
Again,
that's the premise of it.
It would still be that no one in the Marvel universe knows.
Have you seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
I have, but Invasion of the Body Snatchers doesn't involve like 30 years of cinema history. It's not like all of a sudden,
right?
Fucking,
but I mean, that's the premise.
Imagine the guy from A Wonderful Life is like, oh, it turns out he was actually a body snatched the whole time. You'd be like, that's stupid. I watched the whole fucking Wonderful Life movie. I didn't realize he was an alien. This makes no sense.
I don't know. If you take that, I think it might actually work better in the MCU, but they're not gonna do it as an Avengers movie. But
it would work better because there's not a lot of history in the MCU,
right?
And you, like I said, you could switch people in and out and say, oh yeah, you haven't seen Thor in a while, right? So Thor shows up, you think he's really Thor, turns out he's a Skrull because they don't realize Thor is off in space somewhere, right?
Right.
But in the comics, again, it's like, oh, you're supposed to just pretend for 10 years that this character you've been reading is actually been a Skrull. And all the things, all the decisions they made and all the choices we made. We're going to retcon all of that. Turns out we didn't really want Wanda to date Wonder Man. She's been a Skrull. That's actually the Skrull that liked Wonder Man. Turns out real Wanda hates Wonder Man. Right? It's like, come on. Like I said, if they would have just had an event where they went off,
if only Marvel was DC. Because that shit would never happen.
No, they would just kill everybody off and start all over.
Restart over again. Yeah. Yeah, Marvel's fucking weird.
All right.
Just
we don't know who's a friend, who's the enemy, Jackson tells Vanity Fair. For this exclusive deep dive into the upcoming series, there's a political aspect that kind of fits into where we are right now. Oh shit!
Of course there is.
Donald Trump's a scroll.
Joe
Who's
Biden is
okay?
a squirrel.
Sleepy Joe. Who's okay? Who's not? What happens when people get afraid and don't understand other people? You can't tell who's innocent and who's guilty in this particular instance.
Mm.
I always thought that scrolls were stupid in the idea that, like, if I ever went to court, like, let's say I exist in the Marvel universe, right? And they're like, Tony, you're on trial for murder. I'd be like, it was a scroll.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
I think someone actually did this recently.
Scroll, wasn't me?
I have to look because that sounds familiar.
Did he get acquitted?
I have no clue. It's just
Doom
that idea
brainwashed
sounds
me.
familiar.
Hey, like Dr. Doom brainwashed me. Like, what? Dr. Doom brainwashed me. That's why I was robbing those banks. Prove that he didn't. Get him into court. Bring Dr. Doom into court and have him testify. Can't? Oh, looks like I'm going free. Reasonable doubt, right? No criminal in the Marvel universe should ever go to jail, or DC, right? Because there'd be reasonable doubt when you have characters like Starro, the Purple Man, you know, characters that can control your mind, create illusions, scrolls, robots that are realistic, right?
Any number of variants.
Yeah, any number of variants. It's just like, no, nobody can go to
Yeah,
jail.
there are some stories like that. I know there was
Sounds like a robot chicken sketch.
Mr. Freeze took Batman to court, and he won.
Is She-Hulk going to defend you? Yeah.
Oh, don't make She-Hulk defend you.
I know in Spider-Man, didn't Spider-Man say that J. Jonah Jameson hated him because he was black underneath the mask? And then J. Jonah was like, what? He's like, no, you're not. He's like, yeah, you just hate me because I'm black.
Well, J. Jonah Jameson sued Peter because of he revealed his identity in Secret Wars.
Civil War.
Yeah, why did I say Secret Wars? Stupid. Yeah, Civil War, he sued him because he was like, well, you were fucking robbing me this whole fucking time I was paying you, right? To take pictures of Spider-Man.
Well, he was taking pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was, but he was taking pictures of himself.
It's 16.6 days is 400 hours, Finbar.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
He did the math.
Mm.
I do know that I don't know if it was a what if or in the main continuity. It's probably a what if. Where J. Jonah Jameson does find out he's Spider-Man.
Mm.
And he's like, oh, wait a minute. You've been staging these pictures. They're not real. Like, you've been pretending to like stop crime just so you could take pictures and send them to me.
Right.
So I could see that happening. Just fake shit. And again, wasn't me. It was Dr. Doom. It's totally Dr. Doom.
Oh, God. We don't need more Dr. Dooms.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do mean no Dr. Doom. But like they introduced,
No, God.
at the end of Eternals, they introduced Star Fox, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And he got sued for sexual assault. Because in the comics, his powers is that he emanates like a pheromone that makes women incredibly horny.
Right.
And so they sued him because apparently, like, after he left, right, like, so he would take off and they'd be like, ew, I didn't want to sleep with that dude. And like, I wouldn't have fucked him if he didn't have that superpower. It was like his superpower is what made me sleep with him. And so his argument was, well, like, what's the difference between a guy who's really good looking or charming, right?
No,
like, would you sue a charming guy? Like, well, he was really charming, so that's why I fucked him. And if he wasn't charming, I wouldn't fuck him, right? He's like, I don't control it. Like, he's like, I don't make it happen. It's just natural. It just happens.
That's true. There is a certain element to coercion and everything, isn't there?
Right.
Yeah. So, I know She-Hulk defended him for that. I don't remember what the outcome was. Because
It's a weird thing to put in a story, but okay.
It was a She-Hulk comic. It's gonna be weird.
Oh, okay.
And it was more recent. It was more recent. It was like during the whole Me Too thing, I think. They're like, yeah, we're gonna Me Too fucking Star Fox.
Oh man. That makes it a little bit more weird.
I even think there was like he was all like remorseful or some shit. Like he was like, I apologize because I didn't mean to.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't mean to.
I didn't
All
mean
is
to.
forgiven,
Oh, man.
but the Purple Man is going away for life.
Well, because the Purple Man makes you do things, right? Like
Right.
he has to physically,
I
he has
mean-
to he has to decide what you do. Whereas Star Fox, like I said, it's just like his natural charisma that just oozes out. He can't stop it. Sexual assault via.
Well, that's what I mean.
Bro.
So it's not his fault. It's the same as just being a really handsome, charming guy, then, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's still
Mhm.
there's an external factor, right? So I think that's the. It would be an interesting real world thing if, like, well, it turns out like if he took a bath, right, then like his scent wouldn't get in your nose, so you wouldn't want to fuck him. But whenever he
Right.
doesn't shower, like his pheromones make you like super horny.
Hmm.
Like, so that way when they
Hmm.
force him, like, no, you have to always cover up your scent.
Yeah.
For some
Yeah.
reason, there's like several characters in Marvel Comics like that. Mandrill also can hypnotize women, only women.
He needs a full body condom
He's a full body
to
condom.
prevent any accidents.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh my god.
Now that I'm reading this first line here, where it says Nick Fury first became an ally of the Skrulls in 1990s set Captain Marvel. What if we're thinking about this the wrong way? We're all going, well, how did the Skrulls be bad guys, right? What if Nick Fury's the bad guy? What if he's convinced the Skrulls to impersonate other world leaders so he can get his super secret agenda? Like, oh, I gotta stop supervillains. And the way I do that is, well, if I get all the governments to be controlled by my allies, Skrulls, I can get whatever decisions I want. I can get any clearance, any information, anything I need.
Well, there is an element to that, his character
Mm.
in the MCU, especially because when he was in the Winter Soldier, he was kind of like that. He was suspicious of his own organization. He had obviously they had Hydra infiltrated the whole of Shield, so
Right.
I'm sure that's something he's been doing for since the 90s.
Yeah, so I'm saying, what if it's instead of the Skrulls are the bad guys infiltrating for their own ends? What if
They're
it's
doing it for him?
Yeah, they're doing it for him because he got infiltrated by Hydra, like he said. So he's like, oh shit! But this is a really good idea. Could you imagine if I could do this? He's like, oh, I got Skrulls.
Would that really fit with his character though? After all the stuff with Hydra,
to manipulate world governments in order to achieve a good? The ends justify the means. Isn't that like his whole deal?
but I mean, wouldn't he just see that being hypocritical? I mean,
You would think so, but in the comics, he basically becomes the new Watcher after it turns out like.
yeah, I know he did that, but I'm talking about the MCU version of Nick Fury.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, because the idea sounds interesting, but like, I don't know if Nick Fury would do that in the MCU.
But the MCU one's always been a bit of a grey area because you don't really know what's going on with him most of the time.
Right, but I think he's. I don't think he would do something like that though.
But he's not with. So he went off the grid as well. So he's not with anybody. At the, I mean, I know he's with Sword now, isn't he? Or
well, Shield doesn't exist.
Yeah, Shield is gone basically.
Remember, he had people impersonating himself and Maria Hill, right?
Right.
And well, let's say he's not impersonating, our president, but let's say he's like, well, we know Putin's a bad guy, so we take out Putin and we throw a Skrull in there, and now we stop the war in Ukraine, right? Would that be a bad thing?
But this is the kind of thing his character would do. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
From Winter Soldier, because he wanted to put those helicarriers in the sky. He was all for that.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fucking bad.
To be able to stop anybody at any time
before
anywhere.
It happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're just going on a deeper level. Like, we can stop wars by manipulating the governments by controlling who's the leader.
I think it's wholly consistent with his MCU character, to be quite honest. So yeah, you might be right. Because you've got to remember the two that were impersonating him and Maria Hill, he trusted those two.
Yeah.
Right.
Why would he trust somebody
to
impersonate him like that?
I don't know how deep into spoilers we want to go with the Emilia Clarke character and that other guy character. Do we is it common knowledge now? Is it who they are?
Yeah, they put it out, so
Yeah.
it's not a spoiler.
Because you may find that they're the ones that are looking at it like this has gone too far. We need to break off from them.
Right.
You know, like they're on the side that they think they're on the side of right. Because they think that the Talos and Fury and all that have gone too far with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would want to see that play out because it's like, on one hand, I'm like, wait,
No,
after
100%
all
good.
of that, would you really want to do that? Like, wouldn't he think? Because if you have a scene where he does like confront that and he still goes with it, then I would be okay with that, right? But I don't want him to not acknowledge the fact that he might be a hypocrite, right? Because then that's like
Well,
my
he would
problem
be a
with the
hypocrite.
MCU.
Because he thinks that what he wants is correct, and he's on the 100% side of the good, right? What he's doing is for the greater good. Like he said in Winter Soldier, he wanted to do those helicarriers because he thought that was good. That was a good thing, right? The same way
Well, what
Tony
I'm trying to
Stark wanted to
say,
put a armor around the world, right?
right?
They're okay with doing things, even if the things ends up hurting people. Like if they think, oh, this is
Yeah,
the
but
right thing.
they don't though. That's the thing, right? Like eventually they don't. So and that makes it a little bit more interesting because they know that it was problematic what they did,
Well,
but they
maybe
still go
it's a series,
with
so
it.
maybe like the first couple episodes he's in, and then maybe at some point he changes his mind, or one of those guys goes
Right.
rogue. Like that could be it. It could be one of the characters goes rogue, and he's like, "Shit, why was I trusting him? Like why did I think this was going to work? Right? Like now he's
Right.
got to
Because that
undo what
makes
he
the
did."
show, in my opinion, a little bit more compelling. Because right now it's like, whoa, what is the point of the show? Like you could have, like, what story is this connecting with besides the first Captain Marvel and the little bits of Far
Well,
From Home, right?
this
Like
might
where is this
connect into
leading?
it. Might connect into New World Order
Yeah,
because
Maybe.
let's
Yeah.
say that one of the scrolls is impersonating um, the president, right? So then
Right.
at the end of the show, he gets, who the hell's president right now? Biden, right? So Biden gets revealed to be a scroll, right? I had to think.
Tony's trying to forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Biden turns out he's a scroll, right? And that's how General Ross ends up becoming the president.
Right. I mean, the way that if that doesn't happen, Tony, I'd be so pissed off because it sounds actually interesting.
Because remember, in order for Ross to become president, right? Whoever the real world president has to be gone. And in the comics, at the end of Secret Invasion, Norman Osborn becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he's the guy who kills the queen.
Right.
So it could be the same situation where all
but
of a sudden
then why now?
Ford shows up at the end, kills the president. Right. That turns out to be the Skrull, and like everyone's like, "Yeah, he's a war hero. Make him president." Like he gets voted in.
No, I think the idea is that Ross would have just been elected as normal. This is you got to remember this is like 2025 or whatever now, isn't it?
More, I think it's more,
or later than that, yeah. So, and he was the last time we saw him on screen, he was Secretary of State, right?
Secretary of State.
He was, and that was in 2000. That was in 2017.
Well, isn't it? No, forgive. Maybe I'm an idiot, but if they say, "Hey, everybody in DC is a Skrull," right? Because eventually you go down. Like, so when the president dies, it's vice president. Both the president and vice president dies, and it's like fucking Speaker of the House, right?
Right.
Eventually, I think it can go far enough down where then General Ross would be president. Like if all those people were revealed to be Skrulls, then it's like, oh, Ross is new president.
Yeah, but
I don't know if they would do that though.
There's no need. The time difference between him being Secretary of Defense and him being president in the United States is about 9 years. So
yeah, they can easily have him run, and we already see him as president.
Because we don't know. We haven't been told from Infinity War, at the end of Infinity War when the snap happened, until what would be classed as now in the MCU. We don't know who has been the president. I remember there was one guy.
What year did the snap happen?
Happened in 2018,
2017. I think it was in 2017. Let me see if it's.
I'm just curious.
Maybe it is just the same year.
What would happen if the president got snapped, right? In the middle of his term, and then comes back 5 years later. He's like, does he get to the last 2 years or like?
Nah, his clock would still have been ticking while he was snapped. I'm afraid you've run out of luck there, Mr. President.
Right,
He
yeah.
doesn't get like an extra. Like you could
You
run
still
one
get
more
your
time.
badge. You can still have your badge and be called Mr. President, but you've run out of time.
Well, even from because when they come back, it's 2023. So, and then I think so far,
There's been
what
2
is
more
the
years since then,
latest?
right?
It's been 2 more years, yeah. So by the time we see him, it might be 2026.
Which
I
means
think we are
he
in
would be 2
2025
years.
or 26.
He would be 2 years into his president. He'd have to be the president already.
Yeah, well, he
Right.
is, isn't he? Apparently when New World,
Well,
World
unless
Order starts, he is president, right?
yeah, it would be 2 years in, right?
Yeah, it would be 2 years in. So what movies have come out already? So like during Wakanda Forever, he should be president already.
Yeah, but you don't.
He might be he might
could
be president, yeah.
because you haven't been told who is.
Well, I'm just saying
He
would have
might
to
be-
There's
you
no
know-
could be. He has
You
to
know what
elected
might
in
be the
2024.
twist? You know what might be the twist is him. Val is working for him because they haven't said that yet.
Yeah,
I think is it not?
every
Is it
4
not
years
sort of
we get a new
accepted?
president. So
Is it not kind of accepted that
Right.
she's working for him?
I don't think anybody's really accepted that. I haven't even seen that as a theory, but I mean that would make sense, right? Like
just
I
feel
think that might
she's-
be the reveal that
I
he's
just
she's
feel like
working
if she's
for him.
putting the Thunderbolts together, I just think it's.
I don't think she's working for. I think she's supposed to be. Who the hell was the character that was in charge of Hammer?
Justin Hammer?
No.
Who are you talking about?
After Norman Osborn becomes
Oh,
the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
oh,
he starts Hammer.
Hammer in the comics, right?
Yeah. And there's a lady, but she was introduced in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. I think they're replacing her character with Fontaine to be like the director of the more aggressive version of S.H.I.E.L.D. What the hell's her name?
The one that was in Shield. You talking about?
Wentworth? What are you
No.
talking about? The head of S.H.I.E.L.D., the head of Hammer.
Hold on.
Was it Victoria something? Was it?
It was Victoria Hand, yeah.
Victoria Hand. Okay.
Yeah, so I think they're replacing her character with the Fontaine character. Because Victoria Hand is the one that helps him make the Dark Avengers, and like I said, she leads Hammer.
Right. They merged. They took. They merged characters together.
Yeah, because remember, Thunderbolts is like the Dark Avengers plus Thunderbolts together. So I think
Right.
that they're merging these two characters into one.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I said, she was in.
Victoria Hand was in
Agents of
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Yeah, and she died in Agents of Shield as well.
Right.
But I think that they're trying to get away from certain characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So instead of bringing her back, that's why they
Just not
brought in
using them.
Fontaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Fontaine is a pretty obscure character. She's not really that important as far as like Marvel lore to have her like, oh, now she's
No, yeah.
the one recruiting everybody. No.
I mean, they're just gonna make her like fucking Amanda Waller. That's what it's gonna be.
Oh yeah.
Which is fucking garbage.
All right. It says
She feels more like the Coulson character now. To be honest.
Which she,
But like
I
an
mean,
evil-
which is Amanda Waller.
yeah.
Amanda Waller's the one who's pulling the strings behind the
Yeah,
scene.
but Amanda
and-
Waller is outright
and
evil.
assembly. No, she's not outright
Yeah,
evil.
she is.
No.
No, she's not. She put toys on different sides. She has different teams.
I don't think she's evil. I don't think
She's
ever...
neutral. She's a neutral character.
She's a psychopath.
Yes, you could be a psychopath and not evil. She's not evil. Like, she doesn't want to take over the world or she doesn't want to kill a bunch of people. She's just like, I really want to protect the U.S. and their interest, and I will do anything in my power.
I mean, she's worked with superhero teams. Like, there's superheroes on her team sometimes, right? Like, Checkmate has a bunch of characters that are normally on the Justice League. So,
I'm just saying, like, she's not evil. Like,
right.
The fact that like out there wanting people dead, but she's like, if this needs to be done, I'll do it.
Yeah,
There's
I wouldn't say that because Amanda Waller is very interesting because she just whatever benefits her or benefits her public interest, she'll play to, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do agree. Yeah, she is a sociopath or psychopath, whatever, which way.
Yeah, but most of us are.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they say like, what is it like? 90% of all soldiers can't shoot. Like, they go into war and they're unable to shoot. They have to train you in order to overcome this, because we're not supposed to kill. Like, killing your own species is like biologically like ingrained into every animal not to do it, right? But sociopaths and psychopaths, we can do
Really?
that. Yeah. Look at nature. Like, there's not like fucking rabbits just like killing rabbits. Like, no one does murder but us. Like, yes, the animals will fight for territory or fucking land, right? But there's not like a rabbit going out in the middle of the night just like fucking murdering other rabbits for like fucking pleasure.
Well,
Right?
not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet. But I mean, they also don't have the idea of like morality and certain things. So
yeah,
it's a little bit more
so they should be.
complicated.
Like, no, not really. If you have no morality, you should just be murdering each other because you don't give a fuck. But they don't, right? Like, whatever it is, they know not to just murder each other for no reason.
It's not an instinct in them, though, is it?
Yeah, it's not.
We're a bit different like that.
No, but we have that same instinct. That's why they say, like I said, soldiers that go to war and it's their first time, they'll either shoot high or they won't even shoot the gun at all. Or they'll pretend they're doing something else and they didn't notice. Yeah, it's a whole thing. The army had to do a whole like thing about it, because there's like in order to get soldiers to shoot and fucking kill people, they had to like figure out how to break this and do like psychological training.
Is that just a site like
tigers eat their young? That's different though. They're like, oh, there's no food, so they eat their young. It's not like, again, it's not just murdering for fun. There's always praying mantis. Again, she's pregnant. She eats her mate because they know that they need the food because they're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, it's. I never like comparing humans to animals because there's different circumstances. There's different things.
Humans
so
invented
like,
PlayStations. It's not comparable.
It's.
Well, even like chimpanzees, right?
Again,
like a chimpanzee will rip your face off, right, at the drop of a hat. But a chimpanzee, you don't see like they're like, oh shit, we can only have one in a cage because they're gonna rip each other's face off or murder each other in their sleep, right? Now dolphins, who are like supposed to be the smartest animals, remember, dolphins are supposed to be like the smartest animals next to humans, right? And they regularly murder porpoises, and they're just like fucking flinging baby seals up for fun. It's like the smarter you are, the more like you fucking psychopathic. Also, Batman is just a.
I don't know about that. I think that might be a stretch. The more intelligence, the more psychopathic you become.
Yeah, logic. The more logical you are, the more.
So, when that by that logic, I guess you are a psychopath.
I never said I wasn't. Yeah, see, look at.
Yeah, but I don't know about
the
that.
Science of creating killers. Human reluctance to take a life can be reversed through training in the method known as killology.
Huh.
Look it up. It's not like something I just made up to say on the show. Like,
no, I'm just like perplexed.
You just never thought about it, right?
Right. I never really thought about that. Yeah.
No, there's a degree of what he's saying is true. If the less intelligent an animal is, the more it's likely to default to instinct. And think about, and then the instinct is not to kill its own species; it's just to survive, right?
Yeah.
Or to do what it would do normally to survive. Whereas we can think about things like our brains can break, or our brains can be broken, like he's saying with the killology thing, and then rebuilt.
And also, your brain thinks of consequences, and you think of because you have higher thoughts. So you're like, if I kill that guy, his family, and then you're thinking about other things. Right, so we have to break you from that line of thought, and just see them. That's why, like they talk about dehumanizing the enemy, because when you dehumanize them, they're no longer human. So it's okay for you to kill them.
No, I've never really thought about that. So maybe that's why I'm like perplexed, because I'm like, no, I guess that would make sense.
Aston says, "Here's how 21-year-old West Texas Army Private Stephen Green described shooting a man who refused to stop at an Iraqi checkpoint. It was like nothing. Over here, killing people is like squashing an ant. I mean, you kill somebody, it's like, all right, let's go get some pizza.
Right.
I mean, I thought killing somebody would be this life-changing experience, and then I did it, and I was like, all right, whatever."
Well, I mean, the thing is, you kind of have to in that scenario.
No, because he, like I said, even at war, like they found when they were sending people to war, that people they weren't killing like we were like.
Right.
So then
That's what I'm trying to say, right? Like your whole purpose as a soldier, when you're in a scenario like that, it'd be hard to get emotions.
No, that's what people
because then you
understand.
wouldn't pull the trigger to begin with.
If it wasn't for the training that they received, then he wouldn't have pulled the trigger and killed that guy at the stop.
Right.
But because we've learned that that's what happens, they've trained people to break the conditioning of humans, and so that guy was able to shoot the guy at the stop.
Right.
That's why, like, when people are like, why do police like just pull out their gun right away and they start like fucking killing people? Like, it's because when they go through training and stuff, they're being conditioned to it's okay to shoot at people.
Right.
So where I would hesitate, because I'm like, no, I don't want to kill nobody, right? Like a police officer has been trained, like, shoot the guy. And where do they train you to shoot him? Shoot him in the head, shoot him in the body, center of mass.
Right. I might have to look into that because it's kind of interesting. And I never really thought about it, so.
Yeah, that's why, like, murder is considered one of the most horrific crimes.
Right, obviously, yeah.
And it's because, like, it's so opposed to everything that your biology tells you, right? Like, to kill another person. Like, how would you do that? Like,
right.
Anyway. In that story, the Skrulls were not a threat, just innocent victims of a galactic war who needed help. But decades have passed since then. He told the Skrulls they were trying to find them a place to live, Jackson says. He promised them they were going to find them a planet or somewhere they could be, and that's not going so well. Now a group of Skrull extremists have arisen who are tired of asking and tired of waiting. The clandestine takeover and secret invasion is their solution. And Gravik, played by One Night in Miami's Kingsley Ben Aldir, is a resistance leader who has radicalized them. I don't remember that character Gravik in the comic. Is it new?
Who?
Gravik.
Doesn't ring a bell.
It's not a name that rings a bell.
Yeah. He breaks from the Talos-led faction to seize the resources they need. First quietly by disguising themselves, then by force if needed. The storyline mirrors countless true stories from actual history where displaced groups have first fractured and then lashed out after patience and diplomacy is exhausted. So it sounds like it's going to just be less interesting. It's going to be, there's a second group that was like, we don't want to wait around anymore. We're going to just start taking things. I think anytime you get cultures that have significant tensions between groups of people, then you can find a corollary, says Mendelsohn. The Cold War stuff is the big one that jumps out, but there is plenty of strife between groups of people, and that this addresses. I guess this is the guy. Yeah, it's a Kingsley Ben Aldir as Gravik.
Right.
So it sounds like it's just going to be normal people. Like we said, they're not going to like impersonate superheroes or any of that stuff.
Right. Which kind of loses the interesting part, so they have to come up with something else to make it a little bit more interesting.
The conflict is not just geopolitical, it's personal. One Skrull, radical Emilia Clarke's Gia, has issues with Talos that go far deeper than most. While this is the Game of Thrones actress's first appearance in the Marvel Studios project, her character has actually appeared before. Fair warning, the showrunners don't consider the following a spoiler, but some fans might. When asked about Clark's character, Jackson points out a scene from 2019's Captain Marvel in which Fury witnesses a reunion between Mendelssohn's Talos and his long-lost Skrull family aboard a space station orbiting Earth. Remember when Ben was there with his wife and daughter? She's the little girl Skrull growing up. She's his daughter.
Right. This is what I said before.
What I never understood in the comics about Skrulls is how do they change? Like, how do they get extra mass? Because, like, obviously people are different shapes, right?
Right.
And I've seen them, like, shapeshift, like, into tiny people, into, like, big people. Yeah. It's like, are they just, like, hollow?
No, I don't think it is.
Not to get too deep into the science of it all again, Tony, because I know your autism kicks in.
I'm just saying, because like they would have to go through. You'd have to go through like X-ray machines and stuff. You would clearly see like, oh, you're just like there's no bones. Like you just all.
But you could change size,
Yeah.
but keep the same mass. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right,
But
but,
like- but
that
like
still
Giant
wouldn't
Man
work,
doesn't.
right?
Like Giant Man doesn't change size and keep the same mass.
No, that's
Right.
true, but yeah.
And
He's not a
because-
shapeshifter though.
Because, well, certain. I mean, I wonder if there is an explanation, right?
Yeah, because like in the
Mm,
comics,
what?
like when they shapeshift and they got like a big hand and they hit you with it, right? It shouldn't hurt anything extra than like because it has the same mass as when their hand is tiny.
Mm.
Yet it acts like if it's fucking this extra mass.
Yeah. I was going to say unless mass is redistributed to the grown hand, but then they would just topple over because of the weight of the big hand.
Yeah, see?
So it doesn't make any sense.
Jamie C chimes in. He says they dehumanized the new soldiers at Boot Camp 2. Full Metal Jacket showed it
Right.
perfectly on film. They shaved your head to give you a number and break you down to build you back. That's why, according to Aston, military training camps, police academies, and even some self-defense pros are constantly searching for more effective methods of suppressing the human revulsions of taking human life. Virtually rewriting
Right.
the brain to react first in certain situations with an automatic response to kill. And CM Retro, who's a police officer, says this is actually true. There are also studies where soldiers would sacrifice their own positions to try to save female soldiers.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why they never wanted females to serve in the military.
Mm.
Because biologically, women are supposed to be protected. It's a biological function of the human race, of the mammalian species
Right.
itself. Because, a woman can only be pregnant once, right? A dude can fuck a bunch of chicks and like knock up a whole bunch of chicks, right? So we're less valuable to the species. So the instinct is always to protect the female.
Right.
And so then if you go to war, your instinct kicks in to protect the female, and then you end up fucking up and getting everyone killed.
Right. This is interesting.
Which is why when like feminists and everybody are like all pissed at men for like holding a door open, it's like, shit, it's just the way we are. It's the way biology has made us.
You should just fucking slam the door in a feminist's face then. They don't want a door held open.
And growing up amidst constant war makes it hard to ever stop fighting. Living in the shadow of a powerful parent makes the situation even more dire, especially when its leader, who is seen to have failed. In Gia's case, resistance was virtually inevitable. It's hardened her for sure. There's a kind of a punk feeling that you get from this girl. She's a refugee kid who's had talents for a dad. You know what I mean? Maybe the fact that we didn't know he had a kid up until this point tells you everything you need to know about their relationship. Oh, Daddy went out for galactic milk and never came home.
But we did know he had a kid.
Yeah.
Because we met the kid in Captain Marvel.
How many years? What's it been since Captain? Like 30 years?
It's been more now.
Yeah, if it was, when was it set? Was it 1990? Bang on 1990, was it? Or was it a
Think
bit
so.
later in the 90s?
Maybe it's like
Yeah, 'cause
92, maybe
95.
95.
95, so she would have to be.
So it's like, I mean, it might be 31 years.
This
But
is
it-
interesting. Continues
Or
to play
it's 30 years.
Cyberpunk.
His daughter was
No, I wasn't
what,
playing
about
Cyberpunk.
10, right? His daughter was about 10 years old in that film,
Yeah.
wasn't she?
Yeah,
So she has
so
to
she
be in
would
her
be
40s.
40s.
Yeah, but this goes back
But it
to what I
wouldn't
was
show,
saying
right?
before, right? This goes back to what I was saying. No, this goes back to what I was saying in Star Wars. Like, they grew up on another planet, right?
Oh, God.
No, come on. They grew up on another planet. So if that planet revolves around the sun in a different rotation than Earth, right? So like maybe
Yeah.
for them 10 years, right? But it's actually like 30 years for us. So just because she's off that planet, she might actually only be 20 in scroll years, even though she's like 40 in our years, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but she would still biologically age at a
Would
regular
she?
rate.
So
I'm
if I
assuming
go to another planet, will my biological aging differ because now I'm on a planet?
Well, if you were on Venus, where I think a day is
Can you
like
even
150
see
days.
a scroll age?
No.
Yeah, so does it even really matter? because they're in their human forms. They can manipulate that.
You can see her age in the sense that she was a little girl, like when she was in Skrull form, she was a little girl in Captain Marvel, and now she's an adult, fully grown adult. But yeah, I'm sure she could shapeshift into a younger person when she's in human form.
Well, maybe she could shapeshift into a younger person in the Skrull form. Maybe she was already 20, and we just saw her as a little girl. She was tricking everybody. You don't know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, could. Yeah, you could be a Skrull and shapeshift into a Skrull. No.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously, changing mass isn't a problem, is it?
Yeah, I couldn't really find that answer. I don't know if that even really matters. But yeah, I mean, if
it does matter in a sense, because if like she's a little girl, right? So let's say a little girl Skrull who weighs 30 pounds changes into an adult male, and then he tackles Finbar, she should just bounce off of him because she's still only 30 pounds, right? But in the comics, like she'll tackle somebody and the guy gets tackled. So you're like, wait a minute, where did this weight come from?
You know, maybe in the MCU they could change it, where it's like maybe to some degree they're all like super Skrulls, but some of them can mimic people's powers better. So then when they mimic,
they're all just Captain America strength.
They're not Captain America strength, but they mimic the person's if they mimicked me, right, they would get my size and strength, right? But if they mimic Captain America, maybe it would be a little bit wonky because they're going off of what they see.
Maybe.
They might
would have America's ass.
I wonder how would you even explain that? You would have to explain that like in a long exposition or something.
They won't explain it.
They won't explain it. I think that's too much to explain. Just like,
well, you're already living in a world where you've got Ant-Man, so Ant-Man can change mass along with his size.
Right.
So they don't really need to explain it now because they haven't explained that. So.
Well, they explain it in the comics.
Yeah, but they won't do it on the TV show.
Right, in the
MCU.
But it changed. This is what Blinky was saying before. There's continuity errors here because they explain different things different times, depending on who's writing it.
Right. Yeah.
Not necessarily just with that, but just in general, there'll be people not fact checking previous works.
Right.
Even editor to editor, they don't check.
Because the thing is, it's like there are potentially reasons, right? But not everybody would know because it's like super deep into like one fucking panel in this fucking random year, right? So it's like someone would have to go and look that up, and then it's like, well, how do you even look that up, right?
You would
someone
think
have to remember
at some point. Like I know computers are more past when a lot of these characters were created, but I would think like some point like in the 90s, say, hey, you know what? We should probably have a database with all the necessary pertinent information.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, like, oh, you're gonna write Spider-Man now? Well, here's his file. You could just look it up on the fucking computer. Like, there's all the things you need to know in order to not break continuity, right?
Yeah, and they should do something like that. I mean, they have the money to hire researchers and fucking look at the shit, right?
Supposedly, I think at one point, I don't know if it's true anymore, but supposedly at one point they had one copy of every comic in a vault, so people could like, okay, you're gonna go right, like go check.
They probably still have something like that.
Whether or not they go back,
people kept stealing them.
People kept stealing them.
Who keeps taking Spider-Man #1? What the fuck? Anyway, let's it's been like an hour on this damn article. Jesus Christ.
Damn.
There's lots of emotions to live within her, and there's lots of confrontational aspects to her character that have come from the circumstances. You understand why she's feeling that. She does. There she is with, I don't know who that is. This dude.
Is that not Talos?
No. Because that's not Ben Mendelsohn, right?
Is it not?
No, it is.
Is it?
What are you talking about? It is. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's just... Can't see his full face, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'm just used to him being green. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Secret Invasion draws its inspiration from a 2008 Marvel comic storyline. No, it doesn't. Written by Brian Michael, but it takes its name. That's about it. That crossed over into other superhero storylines. In that run of tales, even established heroes were sometimes revealed to be covert extraterrestrials replaced, pursuing a plan to scroll conquest. And stupidly. The Disney Plus series executive producer Jonathan Schwartz says the show also takes cues from the Cold War espionage thriller of John le Carré and some contemporary TV shows that explore the clash between loyalty and identity. Oh, shit. The Proud Boys are going to be Scrolls. Watch.
Oh, God.
We were really inspired by shows like Homeland and The Americans. What you find is there are people that you trust or you think you can trust, or you can only trust to a certain point. In his quest to unravel the Skrull extremist plot, Fury crosses paths with a number of figures who, like him, have held positions of off-the-books influence around the globe, often as part of a national intelligence services. Also, like him, they tend to be comfortable operating outside of stricture of law and order. Among them are Martin Freeman's Everett K. Ross. If this happens after Wakanda Forever, what?
That means that's a direct connection, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, isn't he? He's wanted by the U.S. government. He got freed by the Wakandans at the end of the movie. I would assume they would have to take him to Wakanda to hide him out from the government, right?
Or maybe Wakanda just gave him to Sword or Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Is that how it ended up? He was wanted by the U.S. government.
Yeah, because he's helping the Wakandans in Wakanda Forever, and Vel, she's pretending like she doesn't know, but eventually she's like, "Dude, we knew the whole time. Like, we bugged those little beads that you've been carrying around the whole movie," and they arrest him. And then at the end of the movie, in the post-credit scene, his transporter gets attacked by the
he gets out. Right.
Yeah, but he's gonna turn it to have been a Skrull that was doing all that.
You think so?
Yeah, and the regular guy was just at home all day chilling when it was happening. That's his defense in court.
How come the Skrulls? What didn't make any sense to me, as far as Secret Invasion, right? Maybe I missed this. I'm blinded will know, or Finbar. But in Secret Invasion, why didn't they kill those superheroes when they had them?
You talking about the comics?
Yeah.
I haven't read it. I stopped.
Because they replaced them, right? So, like, they took Scarlet Witch, they replaced it, right? And then, like, all those superheroes were left alive.
Yeah, they were just kind of in suspended animation, weren't they?
Yeah, because they eventually come back.
Yeah, they come back, right.
So my question is,
Spider-Woman had to come back.
Like, you had them, right? Apparently you've captured them. You've succeeded to do experiments on them, get superpowers out of them, extract them, and then you're like, let's leave them alive.
Right. I don't really have an answer because I don't know.
Just comic logic again.
Well, I mean, it is Michael Bendis, so yeah.
Ross has a long career of working with advanced secretive societies that have trust issues. There he is. His little, kind of looks like Tim Pool. It's got the Tim Pool going. Got the beanie. Another is Don Cheadle's James Rhodey Rhodes, the military weapons liaison from the Iron Man films, who had frequently fought on the front lines as the armored war machine. This is a different kind of Rhodey, a political animal, and not, a guy who has a special suit. Jackson says he's the president's right-hand man in this, so he's the guy that makes a lot of decisions, some good, some bad. So do you think we're gonna get Harrison Ford showing up in this?
No,
I don't think so.
You don't even think, like, at the end, like, they keep mentioning the president, and at the end, Harrison Ford turns around in the chair?
Maybe at the ending.
Wasn't this shot a while ago, though?
Yeah, but they're reshooting this.
Yeah, they're reshooting, and you could always.
Then they might add him now. Then, since if they're doing reshoots,
I think it might be at the ending. I don't think he would be like show up like in the first couple episodes or even the middle.
I mean, because they've made Rhodey. Because as far as I know, Rhodey was just like a dude, right? In the Air Force.
No, he was Colonel.
Well, he was more. Wasn't he also? No, what did he do in Iron Man 3?
He was a captain in the Air Force because they gave him the suit.
No,
remember?
He was a colonel in the Air Force.
Colonel, yeah.
Colonel, right?
But I'm saying, from being a colonel in the Air Force to being the president's right-hand man,
right?
Yeah, in Iron Man 3, he was like the president's bodyguard, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Was
that's
in
what I was
Patriot.
thinking, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but then the suit gets hacked and everything. Remember, they get
Right, and then they put the president in the suit.
Yeah.
That's right.
Would you think they'd be like, you know what, James Rhodes, you kind of fucked up. Let's take you out of this position. And I would assume it's a different president, right? So the president would have a different bodyguard.
Well, didn't
Because again, James Rhodes is not Secret Service. Secret Service.
well, I think maybe he got some goodwill because he backed the Accords, right?
Yeah. But again, every president chooses their Secret Service agents, right? And the Secret Service are the ones who protect the president. It's not like some Air Force colonel.
Yeah, but the Secret Service don't all have Iron Man suits.
Yeah, we do live in a world. This is a world with Iron Man suits. So I don't know. CM Retro says they got them all graded. Now no one could read them in the vaults.
No, man.
And Jamie C says the big events in the comics usually try to explain the differences and reset the continuity when it gets out of control, like Crisis on Infinite Earth. But
That's not necessarily true.
Not all of them. No, Crisis was a complete reset of the universe. Whereas these ones, Crisis keep continuity.
Right, but Crisis, they came up with that idea because DC had so many different continuities.
Yeah, that's what he said. The differences and reset the continuity when it gets out of control. Like
that's DC, not Marvel.
But that is also a big reset. That's like
but he's also saying that now it's just a money grab.
Well, the only big event that really does that is DC. DC now seems like every 5 years they would reset to streamline things. Marvel doesn't really do a reset. So their events are just like, sometimes it's just like an X-Men event that turns into everyone's crossing over.
The closest they ever got, I think, was where the folding the Ultimate Universe into the 616.
Yeah, Secret Wars
and Battle World. Yeah,
but it didn't reset anything because
continuity is still kept. But with DC, they had the reset button and they rewrite the entire.
Well, no, Marvel did a reset. Marvel did the year one.
Marvel has never done a reset. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they did.
All the continuity has been the same, while DC's continuity has
not. It 100% has not. And I will challenge you on this. Because, again, Marvel did a reset where all the comics went back to issue 1, right? And they reset everybody's continuity because they said things like the Punisher serving in Vietnam, they said that he would be too old. So they moved it ahead. That's why even...
No, that's how it always works.
No,
what year are you talking about, Tony?
I'm confused. What are you talking about? They usually tend to, because of the way that comics works, they always have like this weird time dilation where it's like certain
shift in timeline.
There is a shift in timeline. I get that. However, certain events in the comics were set in stone. Right? Captain America fights in World War II. Right? He always fights. Punisher fought in the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
that was very specific.
Yeah, that's true. They have shifted that to a later war.
They changed it. The same thing with Iron Man. Iron Man was not part of the Afghanistan war originally. He was part of the Korean War.
Right.
Or like
they shifted that as well.
They shifted that because there was a comic. There was a whole thing that they took all the comics and they went back to issue 1. Like everyone started over again. And what you're talking about is
Iron Man Volume 2, Captain America Volume 2.
No,
fantastic.
No,
is that not the one you're talking about?
No, he's saying that there's a specific event that resets everybody to number 1.
Yeah, it was
like in the continuity. That's what you're trying to say? Not a relaunch.
Oh, it wasn't.
I don't know. Yeah, not a relaunch because that's what a normal.
I do remember.
That's what Marvel does.
I do.
Marvel relaunches all the time.
But I remember the relaunch. I remember is in the late 90s when they did.
The Heroes Reborn.
That, yeah, and then they explained it away as a pocket universe that was created by Franklin Richards.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Let's start all over again. So you know how the comics have numbers?
Yeah.
So it was like say
issue number 1.
So it was like Incredible Hulk issue number 337, right? Then the following month, every comic went back to issue number 1. So the following month, it was instead of Incredible Hulk 338, it was Incredible Hulk 1.
Yeah, we get that.
They started and then when they did that, they had an extra comic in between. That was like Incredible Hulk say 0, right? And in those comics, they told you different things. So like they changed their history. In one of the Spider-Man ones, they told you that Dr. Ock, he was the one who did the experiment that gave Peter his powers. So in that comic, so now instead of Peter just learning, being at some like random science fair at the college and getting bit, it was a science project being done by Doc Ock, and Doc Ock and Peter both got their powers at the same day in the same.
Are you talking about the flashback -1 issues?
Yeah.
Right, I remember these. Yeah, I don't know if they're still considered continuity or not.
Wouldn't that just be a retcon though? That's not what DC does. DC literally hits the reset button, and certain things are dramatically changed.
Yeah, well, there was dramatic changes.
Marvel has. Yeah, but that would be considered a retcon because there's still things that still happened, right?
Yeah, it's a retcon when you've got, like you're saying, the things that were set in stone, like Punisher being in Vietnam and then it moving to a later war. But his origin is the same.
Like in DC, like in the New 52, they had this issue where it was like Batman only existed for 5 years, but yet the whole Bat family was established, right?
Yeah,
and so they had to, so certain things didn't happen, but then they had to have happened, and so that's why they were like, well, we'll take the old universe and merge it with the New 52.
Yeah.
So, but then they would just continue on, and now they're resetting again, right? DC usually is the one that has different branching continuities. Yeah, like certain characters are entirely different in some continuities, right? So they either merge it or they ignore it.
Right, but I'm saying, like, for some of the bigger characters, it was more or less the same. But for some of the smaller characters, there was huge changes to continuity.
I would say that's more of a retcon and not a reboot. They're just you're going back and you're fixing something and saying, well, this happened differently.
Yeah, or an update to the because most of the origin stories are kind of outdated anyway. So
right,
going back and updating it isn't a big deal. It's not exactly a hit of the reset button.
No, yeah, I mean the Ultimate Comics was Marvel's attempt at like having kind of a reboot, but it really wasn't. It was like them having their cake and eating it too, right? Because they had
it was the same
the
thing when Heroes Were
616,
Born.
right? No, I really wouldn't say Marvel has done what DC's doing, right? For whatever reason.
It's anywhere it's not as big or grand as
or drastic,
at least tried, updating or changing the histories.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can agree. Marvel has done more retcons. They have to do retcons because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's really the problem with Marvel, is that they would rather retcon things and make it way more confusing than just doing a reset and outlining what stays and what doesn't stay.
Yeah. Well, I was pissed when they did that whole retcon with the one we're talking about where Nick Fury ends up being the Watcher was Original Sin.
Right.
Because then they're like, oh, it turns out that the Hulk was only created because Tony Stark saw that the gamma bomb was too dangerous, so he fuddled with it so it wouldn't work properly, and that's what caused the explosion that turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk.
But what is this, an Original Sin?
Yeah.
I haven't read that. Is that like 2015? It's 2015 or something.
Yeah, I think that was 2015.
Yeah.
Because it ends up with like apparently the Watcher's eye collects all the information for some reason. If you have the Watcher's eye, I was like, what? This makes no sense.
Yeah, the Original Sin. Yeah, a bunch of characters. They went back and like Silk. That's how Silk was made, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
turns out someone else got bitten by the spider, but she's been
captured
and held in a dungeon for 10 years.
Right. Yeah, things like that. I think that was them reacting because I think the New 52 did Secret Origins, which had like it was very similar, but just with like I think it was only with the Justice League members. And that was kind of dumb because it was in like the back of an issue. It was in a main issue. Or at least I remember it that way.
Yeah. All right, let's continue on. A more antagonistic presence in Secret Invasion is the MI6 agent played by Oscar winner Olivia Colman. who's ostensibly motivated to protect England's national security interests during the crisis. The question, as with everybody in the story, is whether her stated goals are the truth. It's somebody that you've never seen her play before, Jackson says. She's cold-blooded, and she relishes being that person. With MI6 being in play, do you think we might get more hints at Captain Britain?
Yeah, I guess why not?
Excalibur. I mean, they could form their own team, right, to protect England?
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're going to do something like that.
Is it? We know there's a lot of things where you go, it's really obvious, and then like they totally don't do the thing that's really obvious.
Well, I mean, you can make a movie about it, and it has connections with X-Men, so
it was
why
really
not?
obvious to have the invaders show up in Captain America, and then they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
I mean, so that was really obvious.
I mean,
it was really obvious to have Samuel L. Jackson show up in Captain America as Nick Fury, and then have the Nick Fury that we know would be Nick Fury Jr., like in the comics.
Right.
I think the invaders thing though was they were still up in the air about the rights to Namor, right? Is that not why they didn't do it?
Yeah, but they still had they put fucking Human Torch
as
in
a
the movie.
Easter egg.
Yeah, they should have used them. The Jim Hammond one, they should have used that.
Yeah. Well, I still think that there's a chance that the White Vision, because remember when Thanos pulls out the fucking gem, like he fucking breaks them apart.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a chance that like, hey, we couldn't just like weld everything together, but we had this other robot, and we used some of their parts to fill in the gaps. So it'd be like kind of like, yeah, he's kind of made from the Human Torch robot.
Well, didn't they just take all the parts that they had and just rebuild them?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They could just say like some of these were not salvageable, right? Like maybe this hand wasn't salvageable, so we got this, or like his forehead, so we had to put part of fucking Human Torch in there.
No, I'd rather they were. It turns out later on that he was floating around in World War II. It's just part, where there's a big gap there that you didn't see anything.
Well, don't they have a massive montage where it's like there's a bunch of stuff happening?
Well, there is a time jump.
There's a big time jump in the World War II.
It's like a 4-year time jump, no?
Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
they
could easily go back. Because I'm sure eventually they'll like say Captain America fought with Wolverine. They'll do something like that, and it'll be a retcon.
They will.
Yeah. Because we didn't technically see it before, right?
Yeah, fucking throw Thor in there too, like in the comics. Why not?
Well, why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say Hitler called Thor down from heaven, like in the comics. He fucking.
No, man.
No, they can't have had Thor there because he met in the Avengers, and it was like the first time they'd met. So.
Yeah, but they did the same thing in the comics. Like they had, because remember the Invaders comics came out after, and they went, oh, Thor just didn't remember you.
Yeah, but that's comics though, isn't it?
Well, it's been like 40 years. Like he didn't recognize you. Your costume.
There's less of an excuse when you're doing it in the MCU because the MCU is so tight as opposed to the comics, which is very loose.
Yeah, in the comics they do a lot of hand waving.
Yeah.
All right. So the one individual Fury is certain he can rely upon is his longtime Shield partner Maria Hill, played by Colby Smulders. Hill has never had a mechanical suit, biologically enhanced strength, or mystical powers, but she's always been the stalwart of the Avengers team, a grounding presence. Has she? She's barely been in the MCU.
Maria Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been around.
Yeah, but I'm saying she hasn't really done anything where like, oh yeah, she's like a stalwart of the Avengers team, right? Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, she's just a recognizable face. That's really it.
Secret Invasion allows her to step into a more pivotal role in which her basic humanity is the asset. Listen, I would have loved superpowers at some point, but it's also intriguing playing a human in this world because you've made the choice to really put your life in jeopardy, Smulders says. This is a Marvel story where the humans can shine. Even though there are aliens and there's going to be extraordinary fight sequences, this is about people on the ground talking to each other and interviewing people and doing really hands-on work to get the information needed. Sounds for fucking ing. It's gonna be I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
At the time of Secret Invasion, Hill has been fulfilling her human watchdog role mostly by herself for several years. Marvel faithful will remember that Nick Fury has been said to be off-world ever since the events of Avengers Endgame, when the universe finally recovered from the extinction-level snap of Thanos. In Spider-Man Far From Home, the figure who appeared to be Nick Fury was actually Talos in disguise, filling in for his old friend while he has been on a deep space mission to help his Skrull friends find that new homeworld he promised. But he promised to find them a homeworld in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did he just he's like, I'll get you a new homeworld, and then he did the MCU stuff, and then finally decided to go, or is it going to be like
he was like I've been busy, guys. There's been some stuff going on.
Or are we going to find out that it's been Talos the whole time?
What?
Talos says what?
It's Fury.
Yeah,
in Fury. You mean what? What do you
remember
mean the whole time since the 90s?
Yeah, that he's always been off into fucking space. It's always been Talos.
I hope not.
Oh man.
I hope not.
I mean, well, would
that's
that explain the fucking Winter Soldier?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mess up. That would I could definitely see that pissing off a bunch of people. They would have to have a good reason for that. But then also too, wouldn't that mean that Nick Fury didn't assemble the Avengers in the first movie?
Yeah, it would mean he doesn't even know any of them.
No, he doesn't know.
No, well, he doesn't know them personally. Because
apparently Talos has to have some sort of communication with Nick Fury, right? He's just like, well, impersonate me. Like, I hope you fucking, you know what's going on.
It makes me wonder now if they will do. I mean, I could see that being a big twist in the show, right? But I don't know. They have to do some sort of twist, in my opinion, because that was sort of the appeal of Secret Invasion. Is just that, the character that we known all this time was actually a Skrull, right?
Yeah.
I don't see the switch having happened in the 90s. It's not the kind of thing you meet this guy and then just trust them all of a sudden to take your life.
Well, not in the 90s, maybe in the 2000s.
Yeah, I don't know. I would rather it was just as we thought it was, like at the end of Endgame, start of Spider-Man.
Like basically when he became. Well, hold on, wait. Let me just make sure I'm like.
Maybe when he gets shot is when they switch. While he's healing up.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, while he's healing, like Talos is running around as him.
I don't know.
But then he still says that line then.
Which line?
The line about his eye.
Yeah.
No, because he gets shot before he says the line, no?
You're saying when he went undercover?
Yeah. When he goes undercover.
He goes into hiding. He dies after that line, right?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is that he was already in hiding, like when he got shot. Like he was hiding because he knew they were coming after him, and he sent Talos out. He's like, "Hey, if you get shot, well, you're a Skrull. It's okay because you'll fucking heal, right?" Because
that means he still says the line, no? Because it's in the beginning of the movie where Captain America's going to him and talking and.
Yeah, then he gets shot. What I'm saying is before the guy that gets sent to Captain America in that movie is actually Talos.
Okay.
Like he's not actually in the movie. Like real Nick Fury is never in the movie. He's always hiding somewhere. Because why would he put himself in danger like in open like that?
I don't know, man. Surely when he was in the hospital getting operated on, they would have found some strange things when they cut him open, wouldn't they?
I don't know. I mean, if they could shapeshift the outside, I would imagine the inside could shapeshift, right? That goes back to like what the fuck's really going on with their biology.
That's true. I hope they
well,
don't
maybe
I hope they don't.
Because they have to establish sword.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and I was trying to look. I'm like, when was Nick Fury promoted as director? Which I don't think they gave a specific year. So maybe he could have became the director and then decided to spin off the organization into Sword so he could do that promise. And so then you would have Talos be Nick Fury, basically when we first meet Nick Fury.
Yeah.
So then this would be this is Nick Fury we've never seen.
Yeah. His secrets have secrets. He says, I haven't been back on Earth in a minute, and Kobe will say she's been trying to reach me and contact me, but I've been ignoring her messages. I think Maria Hill has really run out of patience. She's always had this really close relationship with Nick Fury, but he's been gone for so long, and she's just been running around putting out fires. As Secret Invasion begins, he finally responds when Hill realizes that their Skrull friends may not be so friendly anymore. A Skrull regards her true form in a mirror in a scene from Secret Invasion. Do you think that this is somebody we know?
That might be Emilia. No, let me see the way it looks.
This will be the Emilia Clarke character, right?
Yeah.
You think so?
I was thinking, but it kind of doesn't look like her. I can't really tell.
Yo, it's hard to tell. It's weird that they would send this image out. Like, this is just some, like,
if it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably supposed to be her.
Maybe it's Kobe Smulders. You don't know who to trust. Nick Fury has been overdue for his own story. His introduction came in the very first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie when Jackson turned up in a post-credit sequence to tell Iron Man, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. I always thought it was stupid that they retconned the whole thing in the 90s with Captain Marvel, and then he's just never told anybody about aliens. Right? He's just kept that secret from all the superheroes that might help him.
That's the kind of thing you'd do, though. It's in keeping with the character. I mean, he didn't really seem shocked. In the Avengers when Earth got invaded, he wasn't really that shocked. He was prepared for it. So it's sort of in keeping with a character who knew something like that was going to happen, and hence why he was assembling the Avengers.
It says, over the next 15 years of movies, only scarce details about Fury's past have emerged. We know he joined the Army straight out of high school and that he became a vital government operative who rose to the highest level of S.H.I.E.L.D. before its collapse. And then he began the Avengers Initiative because he recognized that threats to the world were growing so big that the planet needed to upgrade their superhero protection policy. How old is Nick Fury supposed to be?
Going 60s, right?
I would assume the same age as Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson's almost 70. No.
Yeah, he's an old man.
No, I was just thinking because again, this is my brain being autistic. It's like
he's 74.
74.
What I was thinking was so he's 74, right? So what are we in 2023? That'd be what 19 out of high school would be what, like 1950 something?
The late 50s.
No, it would be earlier than that. So you said he's 74 right now.
Yeah, you said out of high school.
So he
was born in 48.
So it'd be like 50, almost 1960, right? I was just trying to think, would America really be like, all right, 1960s America, are you really going to make Black Nick Fury, the highest level of government agent?
Well, he wasn't though. He wasn't even a highest agent when we saw 90s. Him. Yeah.
But he became the highest.
And on top of that, too,
what I'm saying is he would have to be promoted and stuff. He joins the army, right, in the 60s, and he has to like move up the ranks slowly, right? But it's like.
But isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. not an? Wait, hold on. It in the MCU, is S.H.I.E.L.D. an offshoot of the government, or is it just S.H.I.E.L.D. was on its own entity that was operating like a...
It's a government agency, isn't it?
Yeah. That was the whole problem with why they wanted to move away from working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff.
Wasn't he promoted under...
the government wanted to just divorce themselves from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So they were an offshoot of the government. That's what I just said. They weren't really the government, right? That's my question.
Well, it depends. I'm trying to think because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they weren't. They were part of the government, then they weren't, and then they 100% were government sponsored when they brought him back.
Right.
And I'm trying to think, because didn't they have government oversight?
Like,
Gary Shandling's character, wasn't he like oversighting Shield or something?
mm,
Or the other guy, what's his name? The big actor that was in Winter Soldier.
Robert Redford.
Yeah, wasn't Robert Redford's character part of the government? Wasn't he like a senator?
I thought he was.
no, what was?
Well, he worked in the Triskelion Road, didn't he? He was in the same building as them.
Yeah.
So I thought he was part of.
I thought he was part of Shield.
I thought he was part of Shield. I thought he was like the hierarchy of Shield.
Yeah, let's see.
Because I thought he was. I thought he was the one that promoted Fury into his position as director.
He played Alexander Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce.
Yeah.
And he was secretary.
Yeah, they called him Mr. Secretary, so he was some kind of.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that he was like a Secretary of Defense.
Sure, he would have been doing the job that General Ross takes later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's a government official,
right? And he was part of Hydra, so yeah.
He
was
United
working
States Department of State.
So wait, but he was the one that was in who had the opportunity to put Hydra into Shield, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that he was working in the same building as Shield would say to me that Shield is part of the government.
I think because if you go back to Peggy Carter, remember the thing that eventually becomes Shield was government sanctioned during World War II. Remember, and they were getting help. They were getting help from the British. And then when that ends and it turns into Shield, I think they got rid of the foreign aid part of it, and it's all U.S. I used to J.O. to Vanity Fair when I was young. Wow. Hey, what's up, Joseph? We need a retcon.
Oh, he was. Hold on, am I reading this right?
I don't know. He was the what?
That he was. No. I don't know why it says that. Just forget about that.
Okay.
It's bad intel.
Yeah, but Secret Invasion finds him worn out. Even Nick Fury can be shaken, you know. One reason his character has been off in space, ignoring calls for help, is that he doesn't believe he can fix things anymore. He's up there trying to process what the fuck happened, you know, and what his place in the world is. The death of Iron Man, the death of Black Widow. With that stuff going on, he just kind of checked out. Fury used to see more clearly, even if he did lose an eye in Captain Marvel when he was scratched by an alien creature posing as a house cat. That's a plot point in Secret Invasion 2. Fans have noted in the show he no longer wears his signature eye patch, but Jackson reveals that that's a character choice for the series. Fury hasn't been miraculously healed. He just doesn't wear the eye patch. The patch is part of the patch is part of who the strong Nick Fury was. It's part of his vulnerability now. You can look at it and see he's not this perfectly indestructible person. He doesn't feel like that guy.
So, in other words, that cat thing might get retconned, is what they're saying.
No, what it sounds like to me is Samuel L. Jackson's like, look, I don't want to shoot 8 hours a day wearing this fucking eye patch. Yeah.
No,
he'd rather have prosthetic makeup and a contact lens in all day instead.
I mean, a contact lens you can still see out of, right? Maybe he's like just fucking bumping into shit.
See out of that.
He's old. You're gonna give him one eye. Like, start running around, Sam. Don't worry.
Just tell me.
They could CGI the fucking eye patch, though.
They could, yeah. They could.
This is Marvel, after all. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would look stupid because it's Marvel CGI. It'd be all crooked and shit.
It doesn't stop them from doing it, though.
Nah, they could do it good.
He would be running, and the eye patch would keep going after he stopped. Like,
he could have, they could do the eye patch like Odin, right? Where it's not like an eye patch that goes around your head; it's just on your eye.
Yeah,
they could.
I think there's a story reason that they're going to change up from that cat. Because you can't do, I got scratched by a cat in this fucking serious political thriller, right? Like, that sounds dumb as hell.
He's still got the marks.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. That I bet you any money it's going to be something different.
It's going to be a scroll shape-shifted into an alien cat that scratched his eye out.
Yeah, or some shit. I don't know.
A scroll cat.
Or it's going to be that he's a scroll.
So it's just things like this. Like, why did they even do it in the first place? Why didn't they just do it?
Because they thought it was
a funny.
Because they thought it was funny. Yeah, like the Mandarin thing. Yeah.
Because they wanted to take down a strong, powerful black man. They're like, how do we take him down a peg? That's why they did it. There's nobody here who's glossy and ready for action in a spandex one piece. I mean, my wardrobe alone has changed so much since the original film. I was in platform knee-high boots and a skin-tight leotard in Avengers, and I'm in straight-up jeans and tee in this one. Can we go back to the skin-tight leotard for Colby Smulders? No, of course not, because they went woke. They don't want any sexy women. Some of Fury's vulnerabilities are internal. Sins from his past start to haunt him once again. Now, we often see Nick Fury doing the right thing. We don't always see him doing it in a perfectly morally correct way. All the things have ramifications. Without getting too specific, the things that Nick Fury had to do to protect the Earth have cost. I'm telling you, he set it all in motion. They're going to find out that he's the one who put these scrolls there.
I think you may be right.
Jackson hints at some of it. Nick had a whole scroll spy network because they could shapeshift and go places that people couldn't go. They kept their word. They worked for him, but he hasn't done what he said he was going to do. They want a home. They want to live. They want to live like they are. They want to live in their skin. They don't want to live in ours. I'm telling you, he probably put people into like government positions or something, and then after they had their falling out, they like, because remember, like, say Putin used to be in the KGB, right? So it could be real easy for them to say, like, this scroll was a KGB agent. Then he became president of Russia. He's like, well, fuck you. I don't need you anymore, Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Right.
The human world also begins to harbor doubts about Fury. What he's not doing is calling in his super friends. So that's part of the whole dilemma. I mean, people want them, and he's not bringing them. Why? You'll find out. There's a very good reason he's holding back. I don't know what this guy's doing, drawing all over the Spider-Man thing, but
unrelated video.
Yeah,
that's like an ad, but for Vanity Fair.
Yeah, but it was just funny because I was assuming that this guy's like signing his name, but then like there's like all kind of scribbles all over everything.
No, that's an interesting video. It's just him shitting on the Marvel posters.
Oh, you saw it already. In his long career as an actor, Jackson says characters who lurk on the dark side are the most fun to play. And Nick Fury appeals to him because he's not fully one thing or the other. I enjoy bad guys, Jackson says. A lot of times having no conscience and going by any means necessary is better than being the good guy who has to question the morality of what he's about to do. And Nick walks that line. He makes the hard choices all the time, and that comes from him being in the shadow world where survival is what counts. I'm telling you, he's the bad guy. He did it. I figured out the twist. All right, that was like 2 hours on that fucking article. Jesus, blinded.
Jesus.
You're always taking us in the weird directions. Well, it's okay because apparently the one article was an April Fool's joke, so we're not even going to go over that. Xbox getting their own.
Yeah, that sounded like bullshit.
All right, we're going to hit these next real quick because they're not that important.
Lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round.
No,
E3.
We're get distracted.
Not with that attitude or not. Anyway. E3 has been canceled. The show did not garner the sustained interest necessary.
Or you mean all your fucking sponsors pulled out, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we actually got our own show, so fuck that.
It says almost a year after announcing its return, the ESA announced today to its members that this year's E3 has been canceled. Two sources has confirmed to IGN that the organization announced the cancellation via an email sent out to its members today. The email said that while E3 remains a beloved event and brand, that the 2023 version simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute it in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry. That's what I tell women. Like, that's why we didn't have sex today, because I could not give you the necessary impact of the size, strength of what we're about to do. ESA concludes the email by reiterating its commitment to advocacy work. It does not mention undertaking the show again in future years. So that's it, gentlemen. I think this is the end of E3. No more.
Yeah.
They say this for the last 5 years, but
when was it actually canceled? I mean, the only time it was canceled was during the pandemic.
During COVID, yeah.
no,
This is
last
the end of it.
year.
This is the end of it.
They had
Was
no, it's
virtual.
weird. Last year they didn't have it virtually. It was 2021 they had it virtually. But it didn't even really matter anyway. Because it was just like what they're doing with Summer Games Fest, where it's like, oh, Ubisoft has a stream and it's on this day, right? And so they coordinate it with the organizers, but they're really doing it on their own, right? It's just sort of like marketing that they're all working together.
Yeah.
But
okay, so
yeah.
2021 was online, 2022 was
Right.
canceled, and then this year was canceled.
Right. This year was supposed to be physical.
Yeah, 2020 was canceled. Then they came back online, 2021. Then 2022 canceled. This year canceled. I think that's it. I think they're done.
Yeah, it's not needed anymore. It's got the same sort of feeling as what is happening with Comic-Con, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own show
Thing going on, yeah.
And these ones are all done virtually anyway. I mean, like, you don't really need a physical show. Everything can be
Right.
done online.
Well, I think once like because we already knew the big three weren't going to show up, but once like Ubisoft and EA said that they weren't going to go, like there was really no point in putting on E3. Like those are the only other big people to have.
Except for Intellivision, they were waiting to hear back from them.
Yeah, they could have made this. They could have made this their own show.
Oh God,
They
their own show of nothing.
Yeah.
I think we live in a different world now, right? We're like having
Right.
like E3 was like, okay, so you have to wait until E3 for all your announcements. Like, do companies want to do that? They want to hold things back for this one event?
Well, no, I don't think it's actually they don't have anything to show. That's what's going on now. Like games are getting delayed.
Well, like they just had the Zelda Nintendo Direct, right?
Right.
Well, in years past, they would have never had that. They would have waited till E3 to have the announcement for Zelda and all that, or it would have last year's E3.
Well, they did do that though. They announced that game at E3.
No, but I'm saying even the stuff that they did at the Direct, they would have never had a Direct. It would have all been E3. Everything would have been E3.
How far back though? Like you're talking about pre-2010.
Yeah,
because Nintendo's been doing this for more than a decade of Nintendo Directs and not going to E3.
Right, and that's had the knock-on effect, and other companies have like seen what
following suit.
They're like, oh, this is actually good. We can do like them.
People were calling Nintendo crazy 10 years ago when they did this, right?
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, what the hell? Like Nintendo doesn't have games, right? But in the long run, it kind of benefited Nintendo.
It made sense because you don't have to compete with other people for eyeballs at the event. You're not trying to like compete with, having the biggest.
Well, it's not really about competing. It's more about the money that they spend. That's really the issue.
You would have to assume as well that they were getting some kind of cut from the advertisers that were
right.
But I don't think as time goes on, it's a snowball effect. It's more like Nintendo pulling out of it and then other companies pulling out of it. The advertisement money would be less generated, so it's less lucrative for you to put your stuff on that show because you're not making as much as you would do if you just ran your own event. Because then you could have 100% of the advertising.
They don't even have enough. Once all the big publishers pulled out, they probably couldn't afford to pay for that whole week for that that area, right? And the booths and stuff. So it would have just been empty and pointless, right? So it's like that's why they canceled it.
Correct. It was all about the booth babes, and they got rid of those because it's sexist and objectifying women.
Yeah, I mean, it's 56K is saying it right. Like, it doesn't. The big three were like, why are we going to spend this big money to announce shit that we could just hold back, right? Yeah. And announce it on our own time. I mean, look, Spider-Man comes out this year. We haven't seen any sort of gameplay. Nothing.
No, but Sony does their own. Don't they have their like Sony State of Play
Yeah.
and all that shit?
Well, they have a showcase. We haven't had a showcase in now over a year. And that was supposed to be like their big E3 directs, right? Where they show big games. But they haven't done that.
We'll get an email soon from Sony. No way.
No, man.
We're on the list. All right, so that E3 is done. I don't think it's coming back.
Goodbye.
I think that's it.
R.I.P. E3.
Like I said, this is the end of an era show. E3 gone.
Yeah, you will not be missed, unfortunately.
Now this one is more movie related. I thought this was interesting.
Mm.
So the Oscars bold bid to boost theaters.
Oh boy, this is gonna be bullshit, right?
I had a quick look at this, Tony. It cuts off halfway through and asks you to subscribe. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Have you
Oh,
subscribed?
We're not going to subscribe. Well, basically what it is the gist of the article is they're saying that instead, you know how right now you only have to submit your movie to one theater, right? For one showing to be
Right.
an Oscar contention. So what they're basically saying now is they want to increase it to like where you have to show it in at least 30 theaters for X amount of days in order to be considered for Oscar contention.
Is that
I
its
knew it
bold
was
bid?
some bullshit.
Is that its bold bid to save the theaters?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
their bull build. Yeah.
Because that would force movies to have longer runs in the theaters if they want to be in Oscar contention.
That doesn't really help the theaters at all, by the way. It's only for the big movies that would help, but for the small movies, it's a waste of a screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not really going to help them at all.
See, adding new theatrical distribution requirements for films to be eligible for Best Picture. Just Best Picture.
The Academy is fucking clueless.
I'm not saying
It's archaic, isn't it? It needs to.
It is. They need to figure out, like, first off, if you're going to save theaters, like, theaters need a fucking complete reno. Like, the fucking seats need to go. They should put, like, recliners and just make bigger theaters, right? And then you could accept more people, and then the fucking service is better, right? That's what they really need to do, right? And also make fucking better movies. No, serious, but yeah.
It's just that simple, right? It's like, hey, I know, let's make better movies. Fuck, why didn't we think of that?
Well, they aren't. They think I think there's a lot of people who are making movies who are like, oh, people will watch it anyway. Like Marvel. Marvel's like, why the fuck do we need to put out a good script when people will see it anyway? And they're
They need
right.
to also have the option of it at the door when you walk into the theatre to have a catheter installed so you don't have to go to the toilet.
Oh my god.
Just have a bag of piss hanging next to your seat.
They really have to do that because they're not giving us no intermissions.
No. Well, it sounds like from reading just a little bit of the article here that it's more aimed at Netflix. Like, we're not going to allow you to win Oscars unless you put your movies at a bigger distribution.
Yeah, but just upping it to 30 theatres isn't going to really save the theatre industry, is it?
No,
because they'll just do the bare minimum. All they'll do is the bare minimum, which is
it's always
a drop in the ocean.
They might just show that movie for 2 times within a day
in 30 different theaters,
right? Because it is a waste. Like, that's a total waste, right? It's like if that movie demands like a bigger screen, and then no one's watching it, then the theater chain is like, well, we're not making money on this.
Yeah, surely they would lose money just running the thing and having the staff.
And then change out the movies and then they like it's such a waste, man. Like they need to actually sit down and come up with ideas. The same thing with the theater chains. It's like I think people do want to go to the movie theaters, but again, it's expensive, right? Because a lot of people go with their families or their friends, right? So it's like,
well, not
why
us,
are you paying?
we're all losers who hate the Amico and have no families.
Oh God.
Per Tommy Tellerico, so.
Oh God.
Yeah, we're all in sales.
Yeah. They don't even allow us in the theaters.
Oh. Yeah, but it is just sad.
Jamie C says support your local independent cinemas. Yeah, I wish.
Can you?
Everyone says that. I swear to God, I hear so many people going, "I wish drive-ins still existed." Like, maybe you should have went to the drive-ins and they still would exist, right? There was always like, "Oh, they're just there." Like, "Oh, they're nice." Like, but
where were you in the '50s, Aston, when we needed your support? Not bomb yet.
No, they're over here in Chicago. I don't know how it is everywhere, but in Chicago, we've had drive-ins. I think all the way up until maybe the 2000s when they finally like phased the last couple of ones out.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say drive-ins are ass. Maybe in the summertime it's okay, but not all year round. Like that's stupid.
Even in the summertime, they're stupid because it's like I don't know how it is in other places. Maybe when you have a nice, like 70-degree summer, but when you're like 100 degrees and you're like, shit, I got to turn up the AC, and then you got that little janky ass speaker hanging in your fucking window, and you're trying to listen to the movie. And then depending on where you parked, you're like trying to look through your fucking windshield to see the fucking.
Well, sometimes they do the speakers. I think now it would just be the radio, right?
Yeah, you switch over to a certain station.
Yeah.
I think they're stupid in general. I don't know how they work. I've never been to one. But if you drive in and you get a quote unquote seat down the front, do you need to wait for everybody else to back out and leave so you can go?
Yeah.
Right. So say you don't want to sit through the post-credit scene to see the stinger at the end. You've got to sit there with all them guys behind you waiting.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
the way you put it does sound fucking stupid.
The thing of it is you're not really going there to watch a movie.
You're going there to get a blowjob.
Yeah.
No, man.
But you can do that at home. You don't need to go to a fucking drive-in for that.
Yeah, but what it's really supposed to be for like younger people who still live at home, like drive over to the drive-in in your car. No, it's like any parking lot. Yeah, exactly.
Well, then that's why I went away. Why do you need to do that anyway?
It's like an orgy, but everybody's broken up in their own cars.
No, man.
It's like dogging in the UK. It was some of my UK friends will know. Jamie will know what I'm talking about. But you're just sitting there and the cock will come through the window.
What the fuck?
What happens?
You're just sitting there like, what?
If you park in a quiet car park at night in the UK with your window cracked a little bit, you'll be 50% of the time there'll be a dong coming through the window.
Oh my god!
Just gotta watch where you park.
How far do you crack it? You're like, if you want a smaller dong, you're like,
what the fuck?
This one, don't crack it. Don't open it. Don't open it at all because you never
know.
Just look at any UK dogging video on Pornhub.
What? Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Aston knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Did you warn our buddy Days before going overseas? Like, hey, don't crack your windows in parking lots.
Well, that's Ireland. I don't know if they're probably a bit more civil there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
All right, moving on. This is Axios. They're saying 11 members of Congress argue Sony is unfairly hurting Xbox in Japan. This is from Stephen Totillo, who I believe wasn't he in charge of Kotaku, Polygon at one point?
No clue.
Don't know.
This is Congress making the argument.
Yeah.
So this is going to be dumb.
Members of Congress from both sides of the aisle are pressing the Biden administration to take action on PlayStation, Xbox console competition in Japan. Wow, this is like, okay, so maybe I'm dumb, but why the hell does he write this like this? Take action on PlayStation, Xbox console competition in Japan. Shouldn't it be like a comma? Xbox's console competition?
Why would it be a comma? Isn't it like both?
saying PlayStation dash Xbox.
Yeah, why
Right.
was it PlayStation dash?
Hold on, let me see. Let me read it again.
I don't know. I think you could get away with no comma here.
Yeah, I think it might be fine because aren't they really talking about like the rivalry between PlayStation and Xbox
Yeah,
in Japan?
yeah.
But it shouldn't that be a slash? Then that would be
A slash would have been better here. Yeah.
And then it should be a the on the PlayStation / Xbox console.
Maybe he could lose console and just put PlayStation Xbox competition.
Yeah, but you would still need a the on the PlayStation Xbox.
Right, you need a yeah.
See, so there's some sort of grammatical error somewhere. Goddamn Axios. Driving the news, policymakers raised concern last week to Biden officials, saying Sony's business practices in its native Japan are blocking U.S. companies from competing in that country's gaming market and can be running afoul of U.S.-Japan trade deals.
Isn't this is really ironic? This is really funny.
Don't you think? The unexpected pressure became public on Thursday when Senator Maria Cantwell pressed U.S. Trade Representative Kathleen Tai on it during a trade hearing. 10 members of the House also sent 2 letters on Thursday to Tai and the Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, urging action. What they're saying: today we write to bring your attention to the imbalanced Japanese video game market, which we are concerned may be a result of discriminatory trade practices that could violate the spirit of U.S.-Japan digital trade agreements. Do you not remember when we dropped 2 bombs on your small country? Please rectify this situation. Signed 4 Republicans from the House, including Carol Miller and Mike Carey. Go ahead.
This is really stupid because couldn't you make this argument in the UK too? Because Xbox doesn't really do well in the UK. It's PlayStation.
I mean, they could, but I mean, what is it? We don't have the same agreement.
Right. So, but I mean, I don't even think this really matters all that much because first off, it's really funny that they're pointing this out because there's a lot of people that have been criticizing Sony in Japan for Americanizing PlayStation because they got rid of so many of their Japanese studios and they don't really make JRPG games. They just make games like The Last of Us and God of War. So it's like, I mean, PlayStation is a very American brand at this point, just like marketing wise. And
I don't think
they
it's
put
the
out.
Same. It's not the same in the UK. I think the percentage of sales between both consoles in the UK is a lot closer to the US than Japan. The Xbox really struggles.
Yeah,
I thought PlayStation. I thought PlayStation in the UK really did have like, not like Japan's, but it was still like a pretty big gap.
You may be right, but I don't think the gap is huge like it is in Japan. In Japan, it's like the Xbox may as well not even exist.
Yeah. Well, okay. So real quick, 56K warning. Who has changed his icon to like the IM Messenger
to fit better? Thank you. So we can get it now.
He hasn't changed it. He's just he never had one before, and that always wound me up about 56K.
It says just read the. He's really mad because he says just read the article. Xbox biased. Rather grammar correct and read an Xbox article.
Oh my god.
He says, remember when Japan had exclusive games? Yeah. Those era have been over. Not really. There's still games that
they're still like that. Yeah.
And it was never really exclusive games. Like, people are like, "Oh, they're Japanese exclusive."
It was games that we didn't want to play.
And it was games that they thought we didn't want to play, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's still like that. It's still like that.
What I miss? You missed.
But do you think things like Super Mario 2, the original Super Mario 2 from Japan, would have been a success in the West?
No.
I don't think.
No, they gave the reason why they didn't port it, right, is because the game was too hard.
Too hard and too similar to the first one.
That one.
I think it. No, I really do think it is way too hard for normal people. Like, it was a good idea to swap it out, but Mario Bros. 2 is a shit game. I'm sorry.
Which one?
I think up until
the American
one? The American one, yes.
I like the American Mario too.
I really don't like it. It just.
I think it's too similar.
Sucks.
I think the real reason was the original Mario 2 is too similar because if you look at Zelda and the Zelda 2, right, they took a drastically different course with that game. Donkey Kong to Donkey Kong 3 is a drastically different course to that game, whereas
I really
was similar. And so
I know it was similar, but at that point it didn't really matter all that much.
I think it did.
I think it. Did you play the Lost Levels?
Yes.
Out of curiosity, I mean, it is kind of hard. Like
yeah, but
just for a normal
the original
game.
Mario is still kind of hard.
No,
how many people actually beat when Mario came out?
The first Mario is really not that hard compared to the Lost Levels. Like the Lost Levels, you have to be
huge jump up.
Yeah,
we're not talking about comparative wise. We're talking about when Mario came out, whether or not Mario was considered easy or not. A lot of people, the gameplay, the core gameplay of Mario is easy, right? Move to the right, jump on the turtle shells, get the flag. But when you get to like the 8th level, there's a lot of people that's it. That's as far as they've ever gotten. That they never beat the game. Right? There's that one jump where you have to jump, land on that little.
So by that logic, no one could beat the first level of the Lost Levels because it's extremely hard. Like it comes down to timing.
What I'm arguing is that even though Mario was hard, people still played it. And even if Mario the Lost Levels was hard, people would have still played it. But because it was so similar, the idea that this is basically the same game, why would I buy a sequel?
Yeah, it felt more like what we would consider an expansion pack these days than a new game.
Yeah, but at that point there was nothing. Would people really be bothered by that though back then? Because there was nothing to compare it to.
Of games.
No, but you said Zelda.
Right, Zelda to Zelda 2.
Well, when did Zelda come out though? Isn't that Zelda came out a little bit later? Right? The Lost Levels would have came out earlier.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
but doesn't that make a difference?
No, because when they made sequels and they were drastically different, they were okay with bringing them over here. When they made sequels and it was the same, they're like, no.
So what's another example besides Zelda?
I just told you, Donkey Kong 3. Donkey Kong 3 is drastically different from Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Jr.
I really think it was because the game was hard, and I even think that they said it themselves.
I agree with Blinded. I think that was a major factor. I don't think it was just because it was similar. Because you can point to Mega Man and...
but Mega Man was way later.
But I mean, like...
I'm fairly certain someone... I don't know who it was who said this, but Nintendo themselves said that the game was really hard, and that's why they didn't port it. So I just don't really... I can't really see them being like, oh, well, it's too similar. It's like, well, when you expect it to be, you're saying they expected it to not be similar, right? But it's a sequel, right? So it's like,
but again, there was a lot of sequels back then that weren't similar.
I understand that point.
I agree with Blinded. I think the main factor was the difficulty. I don't think it was.
It is like just like it's not even that it's hard in the sense. It's just like really frustrating where you're like
cheap.
It's cheap. Yeah, where it's like certain like, oh shit, you didn't see that this shell was gonna fucking come out right at. It's like, where the fuck did that come from?
It's almost like some of those Mario Maker levels that these people put together just to pick you off.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it was like one of the most popular games in Japan.
Yeah, but the Japanese are crazy.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you're like, look how popular it is. Why wouldn't you just like, well, fuck it, let's take a chance on it? It's super popular here. Like, did they really think of themselves like so much higher? Like, our video game players are so much better. The Americans will just think it's too hard.
I think that was the case, though.
It wasn't really even a massive risk, though, for them just to reskin Doki Doki Panic because they had the game already made.
Right.
So it wouldn't have hurt them. It's not going to hurt them financially.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mario 2, the American Mario 2.
I do too. It's pretty fun.
I just...
It took a while to get used to the mechanics, right? I didn't really like that it was a departure mechanic-wise, but I liked the game. The game was fun. I think I would have been a bit pissed off if I'd gotten Lost Levels as a Mario 2. I would have given.
I could see that, yeah. I definitely would pick the American one, but I still don't like the American one. It's just the fucking Birdo and the fucking little mini bosses that you go through, and then the fucking frog at the ending. I just fucking hated the game. And then in going, like, sometimes the exit would be... It's like it doesn't feel linear, and also I'm coming at it from a different perspective of just playing traditional Mario, where it's just a level scroller, right? But yeah.
Well, apparently Howard Phillips is the one who made the decision. says Howard Phillips, who evaluated games for Nintendo of America president Minoru Arakawa, felt the game was unfairly difficult, even beyond the unofficial moniker of Nintendo Hard that the company's other games sometimes garnered. His opinion was that the lost levels would not sell well in the American market. So it wasn't even the Japanese that thought it was fucking Howard Phillips.
Yeah, it was always going to be.
Well, we said we didn't know
made that decision, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, someone at Nintendo made that comment that it was just too hard.
But he was a consultant. He wasn't even like, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like a president of Nintendo or something. He was just like,
but
I don't know. We just said I don't know who it was, but someone said it.
I don't know. I think he's full of shit. I think it's one of those things that afterward, that's what they came up with.
So I could believe their reasoning. I mean, the game is just, it's cheap. Like, it's like unfairly cheap.
See, it wasn't said until 2014 is when he came out and said that.
Right.
That made the claim where that first surfaced as the reasoning, right? And I think that's how many years removed you could be like, oh, maybe he just came up with some bullshit. Maybe he didn't like it. Maybe he played it and he just didn't like it. And that was the real reason.
Maybe, but that's the only, I mean, we got to just go off of what he says, right? He's the one that made the decision after all.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like,
why,
if it was an interview,
lie
it
about
was an interview in like 87, I'd be like, okay. But like, it's an interview in 2014.
But yeah, but why lie about that or like misremember?
Maybe it was a really stupid reason. Maybe you fucking like Doki Doki.
It's been years later. Why not just say it then?
A lot of people lie years later. Look at Tommy Tallarico.
Right, but you can't always just assume everybody's gonna lie.
That's how we built our channel, assuming that everybody lies all the time about everything.
You gotta at least take someone at face value until otherwise.
Everybody lies all the time about everything
until proved otherwise.
Yeah,
right.
We operate under the guilty until proven innocent.
Oh God.
And even then, they have to have several receipts.
Yeah.
And the game
need receipts.
Go play fucking the Lost Levels if you haven't. It's a fucking bullshit game.
I love Justin. Justin says Tony's trying to spin things to make himself right.
No.
Yeah.
Play Asia is awesome. It is. All right. So the Republican letter alleges that Sony PlayStation has 98% of the high-end console market in Japan. Signs deals designed to keep hit Japanese games from Microsoft's Xbox and says such moves may violate Japan's antitrust laws. The Japanese government's effective policy of non-prosecution when it comes to Sony appears to be a serious barrier to U.S. exports.
That's such a hold on. The line that you read before is such a misleading line. Why? Because it says 98% the high-end console market.
Yeah.
Well, there's only, by that logic, it means it's only PlayStation and Xbox. Because Nintendo isn't going to be considered a high-end console market.
Yeah.
So why would they make the assumption that of course they're going to have a bigger market share. It's a Japanese company.
Well, they're saying that
and they have more reputation. Right.
And then Xbox has 2%.
Right.
They want it closer to 50-50.
But it's never going to be 50-50.
They just want it closer.
Like
80-20 would be better.
That's right? Just I mean, I feel like it kind of makes sense that it is a high number because in Japan, why would you buy an Xbox?
Well,
like if your taste more aligned,
they would, but apparently
Sony the Japanese doesn't even buy. This is the crazy part. They don't even really buy PlayStations for the exclusives that everybody's talking about because they're so westernized, right? And so they're more going for games that would be on PlayStation and Nintendo.
Well, it says
and some of those games
signs deals designed to keep hit Japanese games from Xbox.
And then they don't list, like, there's only a couple that we know of. We know Square Enix does it.
I'm just, what did you just tell me? We have to go with what the people say. I have to trust that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, but that's not my point, though. I'm just saying, like, I'm criticizing that that's just like a stupid, like, what would you think it would be?
Just got here. Are politicians trying to get involved in gaming now? Always.
Yeah.
They've always been trying to get involved in gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that this is stupid.
It is. It's just so like, oh my god.
Xbox has never been popular in Japan. It's not like something new. Like all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. If only that notorious Sony wasn't being a bully to Xbox, they'd be dominating.
Right.
This has to be Microsoft has to be funding some of these people, right?
They have to be. Yeah.
They're like, hey, so Sony's blocking us from our shit. Go fuck with Sony and see if you could.
Especially since Sony's been crying about the Call of Duty thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think this is all like in a response.
The reaction, yeah.
Microsoft's like, hey, you guys are already in our pocket. Go fuck with Sony.
They're getting their dad to back them up, so they're going to go and ask their dad to beat Sony's dad up.
Right. Stupid. Oh my god.
A letter to Ty and Raimondo from 6 Democratic lawmakers from Washington State, where Microsoft is based. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Covers similar ground. So basically, the Democrats from Washington, where Microsoft is basically footing the bill for them, like, hey, you're being mean to Microsoft. Could you stop it?
Oh god.
Article 8 of the 2019 U.S. and Japan Digital Trade Agreement calls for the countries to enable non-discriminatory treatment of digital products. We shouldn't even worry about this, right? Because this is a 2019 treaty, and as we know, the president, not my president, hashtag not my president, and his laws don't matter. So why are the Democrats citing some hashtag not my president agreement? That's all I'm asking.
Oh my god.
Just saying. Everything that he signed was apparently terrible, and we shouldn't believe any of it. He's a thief, and he went to jail, and they arrested him. Just saying.
State of jail.
He did get indicted. Sony has had a steep advantage over Xbox in Japan for decades, though the secrecy around gaming contracts obscures the underlying causes. Sony does occasionally secure major platform exclusive, as with Square Enix's Final Fantasy XVI, a Japanese game expected to be big with Japanese and global audiences. And that's only slated for PlayStation, no Xbox. No Nintendo, no Stadia, maybe PC?
It's on PC.
But Japan's console market is also not quite a two-horse race. There we go. Nintendo, excluded from the definition of high-end consoles, cited by the policymakers, crushes Sony and Microsoft.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. Like, they also have a big market in Japan and also make deals with Square Enix. So why aren't they being criticized? And obviously, as you mentioned,
because they're trying to go Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Right.
Sony has 98% of the market. Microsoft has 1.9% of the market, and Amico has 0.1% of the market.
And also too, this is why even bring up the Japanese market when Call of Duty is not even big in Japan. Sony is arguing about the Western market, not Japan. So like, why?
Because this is the only thing that they could figure out how to fuck with them. It's saber rattling. They're rattling their saber, going, "You better play ball with Microsoft, or else we're gonna do this thing that's gonna fuck your business up." Right.
Right. And some people think this is okay. I don't understand that.
I don't. It's not okay, but this is business. This is what they do, because they even say here the heat.
No, I know that it's business, right? But like, you see, I mean, again, I know we're gonna bring up Twitter, but it's like there's people who defend this on Twitter and think that it's okay because of what Sony's doing, and it's like, well, no.
People like Twitter Sony's not. That was your first mistake.
Yeah, and they're very tribal as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I had to preface it, but yeah.
It's like there's people on Twitter that like Xbox is getting fucked with. They're like, yeah, fuck them Xbox guys, right? Nintendo gets fucked with. They're like, yeah, fuck them Nintendo guys, and vice versa. So it's like, can't really judge anything by Twitter, right?
Right. Well, there's even people I know who say dumb shit like that and it just pisses me off.
Well, we all know dumb people.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I live with a few. Sony's anti-competitive tactics deserve discussion, and we welcome further investigation to ensure a level playing field in the video game industry, Microsoft spokesman David Cuddy told Axios. While Microsoft isn't saying just how involved it was in orchestrating this push, its government affairs team has discussed the issues with members of Congress. Sony reps did not reply to a request for comment. So there you go. This is all, like I said, this is all Microsoft pressuring console makers. MAGA make Amico great again. Yeah,
that's what I was laughing. Oh my god!
Not my 10 grand.
Oh my god!
That's all this is. It's all bullshit. All right, what else? Well, I think that was it, right? We covered everything. 2 hours on a Secret Invasion article, an hour on
Amico talk. Amico talk.
Oh yeah, that's right, Amico talk.
Imagine you ended the stream.
I wasn't gonna end the stream. We had the polls to go over, but we got Amico talk.
But that would have been a good April Fool's prank. Missed opportunity. Oh man. Skip over the Amico news.
The big Amico news of the day.
There is no news.
There is no news. And that's why DJC has canceled Amico forever. Gentlemen, have you heard this? You heard about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the day they went on hiatus, but I haven't yet watched his address to the nation at the end of at the beginning of his last show.
He basically says, we're going to go on hiatus until there's some news. And then Mike Muller says, that's poppycock. Poppycock, DJC. How dare you? And then today, DJC did an April Fool's video where he says, guys, I'm opening up my controller. And he gets a screwdriver and takes it towards his controller. Then he goes, April Fools. So,
yeah, because that's what all the people who pre-orders want to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, there was some very not happy campers in the comment section. And then because the joke wasn't funny enough, right? DVD Fever had to do an April Fool's. I got an Amico. April Fools. And then of course Canadian Gamer had to get on it. I pre-ordered an Amico. April Fools.
Can you even pre-order an Amico right now?
Yeah, there's a couple websites.
Fucking nuts. Oh my God.
The funniest part though is because DVD Fever's over there overseas by you. His video, for most of the world that knows about the Amico, his video came out like a day early. His was Amico time. Amazon confirmed my Intellivision Amico has shipped. He apparently doesn't speak good English, even though he's from England, because it should be confirmed my Intellivision Amico has shipped, not is shipped.
Yeah, but that wouldn't surprise me with Amazon because sometimes they ship your console and inside you find a brick or dog food. I don't know if that happens in the US, but it's been happening here.
No. So here it is. Look, guys, look. We're going to get the inside of it. There it is.
I can use this Phillips.
This is the April Fool's. Oh my God.
All of its glory.
All right, here we have it. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn this over. And I think we can get right in here with the Phillips screwdriver.
And that's it. That's the not only did he put that, right? Because it could have been like a 40-second video. No, he put April Fools for like a minute and a half. Yeah.
For 2 minutes.
But people shouldn't be shocked at this point that DJC's tone deaf.
No, it's a minute and 30 seconds.
Dude, this is. I was thinking, I'm like, wait. So, how is this really a joke, right? This is more of a joke to the people who are criticizing him, right?
This is a joke to the people who supported him.
This is a joke to everybody who's been waiting on. See, the only people that they'll find this funny is DJC and Mike Mullis because they own Amicos.
Yeah, this is more insulting, right?
Yeah,
this is not. This is.
But he
like,
thinks it's funny because he's tone deaf and doesn't understand.
Oh,
There's a lot of angry people still waiting on this thing.
All right, so we got some comments. April
Look at
Fools,
that
the
dislike.
entire thing doesn't exist and the company is bankrupt.
At least he's letting these comments ride, man.
So far. Joe Zanoli says, the April Fools is on all the people who pre-ordered it. This company outright lied over and over. There is no defense of it. Those who played along should be ashamed of themselves. Awakening Bear just says, yikes. Jan Ong, who's a huge supporter of Nico, says, very disappointing video. This is not funny at all and insults all the people who lost their investment and pre-order money. Sean says, bummer, it still has the old style charging port. Well, the design is like 3 or 4 years old by this point. Scratches, what a joke of a video. PJ Smith, apparently they got him. He got him.
They got him.
Chucky says, bing bang, boop boop, booyah. Aki Lesabrinko says, this is kind of sad.
This is kind of sad.
Megadan says, I was going to say, ha, 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 ha. Sorry, haven't been around, Chuck. Been busy. Nah, you're bad. Names Detroit laughed. He thought that was funny. You also get a downvote. Rodolfo Hernandez is confused. And this one, I don't know what all this shit is. Crying face, violin, notes. I don't fucking know. I'm not an emoji expert. Your lack of awareness, unsubbed. JM De Los Santos, DJC is the biggest April Fool of all time. And then Hunter Green, we should have seen it coming. The Amico is the longest April Fool joke.
Go back to the top. Go back again, Tony.
Why did you put a comment?
I want to test it and see if it works because I think he shadow banned me at one point.
Your comment is there.
It's there, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh boy,
great joke, bro.
Upvote
that.
Oh my god.
So there you go. Hilarious. Wasn't that a hilarious April Fool's joke?
Yeah.
All the people who were like, yeah. And you know what's funny? It's going to be his biggest video in the longest time, and he's not going to understand why. He's like, the people like me again. We need to bring back Amico forever, guys.
Oh boy.
So we had that news. So the other news was the refund class action update. I don't know if anybody has read this yet.
No, not yet.
Tony has read more DJC comments than his poll comments. Yes, I have. Do you guys really want me to read the comments for all the poll questions?
For what? Oh,
no.
Today?
Yeah. Just a quick update. Still no refund. And no law firm wanted to proceed with the class action because, one, they can't nail down where anyone in the company is or where the company itself actually is. And two, there doesn't appear to be any money for them to go after. I tried.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? If you've got no... That's what I mean. Like, there's nowhere for them to send their consoles back to when they're finished with them. The company's dormant, right?
Yeah. As
it stands. And this is why you're probably right about the company telling DJC to can this now. Just keep the Amico name off your show.
Right. Oh man.
Because they're going to try and fade into the darkness, and I think maybe there's going to be some sort of trying to ride the statute of limitations out as well.
Man. Oh boy.
I'll tell you, it sounds like they're in hiding, and they're pretty good. The hide and seek champions of 2023 Intellivision Amico officers.
But this is how it ends. It just ends with silence. It doesn't end with a bang like we hoped it was gonna.
I knew it was. I said that. Go back to the videos.
You did say that.
Everyone's like, they're gonna drag him out in handcuffs, and Tommy's gonna be. We're gonna get the perp walk of the Amigo. I'm like, dude, none of that's gonna happen. You're not gonna get any of that. Yeah.
It's gonna be like the Untouchables when they get them on tax.
Yeah,
they get them on tax. Nah, this ain't no movie. I think this is gonna fade away.
Yeah.
Are we still getting an Amico Forever stream on Wednesday? You're getting one from us. You're getting the top 15 Amico Forever moments. What up, Chronic Warlock? New face around here. He says, "Geez."
Yeah.
I
Good
bet
to see you,
Tony has
Chronic.
read your face. Good one, Bianca. Good one. I've arrived. What's up, Hunted? So we had a couple more comments here, or not comments, posts. Tommy posts that they put for some reason the people over at the Intellivision Amico subreddit have just been posting like, have you seen this comment from Atari Age where Tommy said this like over and over again?
Boy.
So we got a couple new ones that are pretty funny. I think go ahead and go over them.
Haunted Wisp, why is your punctuation at the beginning and not at the end?
Because it's cool.
Yeah. What's up, Puma Fist? All right. So this is Tommy here. Tommy, Grudge Q said, I don't think I really just come out and said this because you wouldn't think it's necessary, but here's my exact relationship with Tommy. Hold on, I got to read this in my best Grudge Q voice. First, he has never paid me a dime. Instead, I have personally ordered a couple $100 of merch, and last time I checked, I have 3 special edition Amicos on order.
No God.
That is like $1,000 worth of Amicos with shipping and taxes. I have a wife, mortgage, 2 kids in college, and this is the most I've probably ever spent on a product I am personally interested in, less a video game system. I literally went to my first video games live concert in the fall of 2019 just to meet him and, quite frankly, make sure he wasn't full of shit. I didn't see any hardware at the time, but I was amazed at his openness when he showed me his videos on his phone. Recently sent from Hans Hippish about skiing. He is literally scrolling up and down on his phone's emails looking for the videos. I saw all his pornography and all the pictures of Ariel the Little Mermaid without her top on before we got to those videos. It was an early beta at the time, as was the fashion of the time. And in one video, he even showed me gameplay without player shadows. That was very interesting. That shows how early this was in development. He didn't ask me to sign an NDA. In fact, this literally was in the meet and greet line after the concert, with dozens of people standing around wondering what the fuck was taking me so long. Scroll forward to 2021, and Tommy contacts people he knows lives in Dallas that he's going to show off the Amico there. I think he invites like 10 people and a couple of staffers on there too. I know because he had asked for my email, so I was on the email blast about the event. I fully expected the event to be in a back room at the museum because, it's an unreleased prototype and stuff. Nope, it was in a hallway of the museum where you could see the front entrance turnstiles. Once again, no NDAs, although they did have a video release form if you were willing to be on camera. And literally anyone could and did. Just wander up. Should be wander. That should be wander. Not wonder up. Should be wander. Fucking people. Just wander up and check things out. You might be wondering why I only played a relative handful of games. It's because people were continually playing it and everybody was rotating around so as not to hog the system. I could only stay a fairly short time. Family commitments, My wife's boyfriend was really in a hurry. So that is how much playtime I could get in. I did get a swag bag from Tommy, which consisted of an Amico dildo, an Amico bag, an Amico pocket pussy, and a controller case, and Amico controller disc fidget spinner. Actually, the prized possession of the lot. and some video game live merch, which I really didn't care for anyway, but I got it because it was in the bag. Some of which I had already purchased when I went to the concert. Yes, I spent even more there on merch, which I am not counting in Amico purchases. I did appreciate that and would like to thank Tommy for it. However, for people who want to make something of this, please refer to the $1,200+ I already committed to Amico products. If that is my Amico payment, I am still well over $1,100 in the hole, deep into Tommy's hole with all that money. So far, I am seriously thinking of gifting yet another Amico to a relative this Christmas, even though it's not coming out for like 6 or 7 more years. Sure,
Sad.
I am interested in the Amico. In fact, I am amazingly excited for it, especially after the Frisco event, where we all got frisky in Frisco, but you probably know that already. But my loyalty to Tommy Tellerico is only just respect for his openness of his asshole and the quality of things he has shown so far. I don't owe him anything, but he owes me something, like a blowjob. He has promised me a decent quality system that plays the types of games he has described and shown. So far, he has delivered, and he gets my full respect and continued excitement in the system. So that is my relationship with Tommy Tellerico. One as a customer, someone who was built into a fan because of the openness of the aforementioned asshole, and what I have seen so far inside said asshole, and someone who is excited for something new in the video game space. So Tommy responds to that. Great post, Grudge. By the way, Grudge over here, he is a gentleman who was a moderator for the Amico subreddit and also suspected to be a employee of the company. Obsessed stalker, trigger warning ahead. Pew, pew, pew. When you constantly tell the truth and are transparent every step of the way, there's no reason to hide. I wonder why Tommy's hiding right now. Sure, you can't tell people every step of the way. And yes, things are going to change along the way, especially when you're always being so transparent. Hey, reasonable and adjusted people understand this. It was great meeting you again, and I'm glad you enjoyed playing Amico and saw total strangers, gamers and non-gamers alike, walking up and really loving it as well. We've been experiencing these reactions in focus groups for a long time, so it wasn't surprising to me, but it was cool to see others experience it firsthand as well. As always, appreciate your honesty and support. Love, Thomas Tellerico. So do you believe all this bullshit? Tony's using another fake voice. No, that was my real fake voice. MAGA, sure, take my money. Oh shit, Puma Fist is investing in Amico.
Oh my god.
Good investment.
Yeah. So this guy spent, according to him, $1,200 on Amico stuff. And no Amico. Fooling his money. Chronic Warlock is correct.
Are we sure that this guy's not just a Tommy Tallarico alt?
It's possible.
He's replying to himself.
The Amico scams, it's still sort of going. It's like on life support. Aston says he has all that and thought it was wise to put down 1,000. Hope his kid in college do not need financial help because his dad went all in on Amico. I'm offended by this voice, and I'm not even a cholo. That wasn't my cholo voice.
Wild.
That was my.
That was this white guy voice.
That was my Orthodox. That was my Seth Rogen voice.
56K was asking me to do it in the end Turtles voice, but I don't. You must mean the Splinter one, but I'm not doing that. It'll get me cancelled.
That's what he meant. So that was Grudge Q spending lots of money. Now, of course, that wouldn't be the only Tommy Tellerico comment.
No.
No, we have an even better one. This is from Tommy Tellerico. And the Wren said, honestly, I wish you had a documentary crew where he was going on. If indie game the movie can exist, why not indie console? Not a snappy title, I admit it, but I'd watch it. And Tommy says, don't worry, there is something in the works. All will be revealed in time. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago in a couple of days now.
Oh my God.
He's right, though. There was something in the works. It was called the H-Bomber guy video and Slopes video.
It was all revealed, all right. Someone called in Potion. They don't like my voices. They want Potion to come in. Tommy was just so full of shit. Like, he would just make things up.
Yeah. Crazy.
This one, of course, was always our favorite. And again, this was also in March. This is right after the trailer for one of the videos. So someone put Conhole, oops, and they circled it, because it says Conhole. Tommy says, at least we spelled asteroids correctly. Because Atari had misspelled asteroids on one of their videos. We fixed that about a month ago. I thought it was kind of funny, so I left it in the trailer to see if anyone would notice. Good eye.
Good Lord.
I think it was subconscious. Tommy was letting us know that all your money went down their Conhole.
Their cod hole. You should start saying that more often.
Guys, I'm out. Blinded's live stream is tomorrow. Y'all come by and don't forget to make Amico great again.
Make
all
it.
Right, Tony's taking Max's spot and now Potions. Someone stop Tony.
No.
Yeah. And then we got one more excellent Tommy Tellerico post. And this one's quite a doozy. I don't know. I can't do a voice because I can't do the Tommy voice, but I'll just read it in my normal sexy voice. Just wanted to post this for the record. The guy I did an interview with last night posted his exchange with Pat. Just for the record, for people who are not in the know, Tommy Tellerico did an interview March 28th, 2020 with Canadian Gamer, in which Canadian Gamer used a Rock Band microphone taped to a fucking speaker thing to interview Tommy. So classic. Canadian Gamer writes, at Pat the NES Punk, fair enough, but I asked him some real questions last night. See, this is funny because Tommy's like, I'm posting the exchange between Pat and Canadian Gamer, right?
Right.
Obviously, if Canadian Gamer is replying to Pat, there's previous tweets in this exchange that Tommy did not include for some reason, right? It's kind of weird. He says, fair enough, but I asked him some real questions last night, and he was by no way controlling the narrative. I think your podcast brings up some valid points, some of which I point blank asked him about, and to his credit, he answered the questions. He lied his ass off, right? As we know now, but he answered those questions. You can't shit on the guy's console and not at least give the guy the opportunity to form a rebuttal. Pat says, you can't shit on the guy's console and not at least give the guy the opportunity to form a rebuttal? Sure I can. Tommy is no different from any other product or corporation. He's free to respond wherever he likes, but is not entitled to use my platform to do so, especially when he has personally attacked Ian and me and made it personal. 100% correct. But of course, Tommy says, my response to Pat is this, because he reads here constantly. Ha 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 ha. Nice dodge. Let's get real, kid. You guys are just too lazy and unprepared to handle an interview with me. I'd waste you in every lame attempt at trying to make your idiotic points. As if I need your negative platform to sell Amico. I got 6,000 pre-orders, bitches. What do I need you for? Besides, you said we couldn't sell more than 5,000 units, and we got 6,000 pre-orders. Fuck you, bitches. Pretty funny considering we sold 2,600 in 5 hours. That's not really that impressive, right?
Well, to be fair, they've made 100% profit.
Yeah, but I'm saying like this was limited edition Amicos, and it took them 5 hours to sell out 2,600. Right? Fucking Playdate, what was it, like 20,000 Playdates in like the first 20 minutes or something like that? And Tommy at one point said that they had more hype than Playdate, remember?
Oh, yeah, he did say that. That was dumb as hell.
Yeah, but he said similar stuff about Atari, and they still released something.
He said a lot of stuff. He
said a lot of stuff, yeah.
He did, yeah.
How's that prediction working out for you? Let's face it, you and your partner just don't want to look foolish in front of the people you continue to lie to. Funny how a slew of YouTubers, a lot bigger than you. Who, Tommy? Nobody. Have chimed in as well to call you out on your laziness and biased lies. Nobody. Rich from Review Tech USA was the only one. The only one who's ever called out Pat and Ian that have had more subscribers than Pat and Ian was fucking Rich from Review Tech USA.
Yeah.
I'd waste you. No, hold on. Damn it. I went back. Guess this is all par for the course with you guys. Lying about me and the product just so you can make $10 more a week on your channel. And you call others shills. Get over yourself. Tell you what, Chuckles. Let's do a live stream interview on both our YouTube channels. And we'll get a bunch of other big YouTubers to stream it live as well. Who the fuck are you getting? Nobody. You couldn't even get any. This is what blows my mind. Tommy couldn't even get any big YouTubers to give him an interview. But somehow he's like, hey, me and you, we're gonna have a fucking one-on-one interview, and we're gonna get a bunch of big YouTubers to fucking simulcast it, right? Because that's how that fucking works.
Well, at the time he could have got probably Riggs, and he did have Slopes as well, would have done it at the time.
No, this is before Slopes, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, Slopes would have been willing at this point to have done it. This isn't after he fucking ruined everything with him.
Right.
But Riggs would have done it as well, because I think Riggs was getting something from him, wasn't he?
Yeah, a little reach around.
Yeah.
All at the same time, and everyone will donate all monetized money to the Child's Play charity. Gauntlet thrown, fellas. Now hurry on back to your safe space, surrounded by your stuffed animals, so you can sling your arrows instead of standing up for yourselves and facing me. Cowards. Man, Tommy was really high in his own fucking supply, wasn't he?
He was high on his own farts. Yeah. Just absolutely stupid.
100% profit. That's all, Tommy. Leave CG alone. That's his aesthetic. Yeah.
Broke aesthetic.
So that was the highlights of the week for Amico.
Nope.
We will return on Wednesday. Like I said, top 15 Amico Forever moments. These are only moments that happened on Amico Forever. Not moments from Amico After Dark, not moments from Amico All Access, not moments from Chuck's channel that were videos. Only Amico After Dark moments. Top 15.
Amico Forever.
As we take over Amico Forever, because next week, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, it's going to be live Amico Forever and Ever. Right here
Trademark.
on this channel.
Remember to put the little trademark sign.
TM.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt. All right. All we got left is our polls, our big polls. Top 15 A&A. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and let's get to the weekly polls. 4 days ago, which tells you that I really didn't. Should be 6 days ago, but I must have forgot to put one on Monday. Oopsie. Should books be rewritten for modern sensibilities? 112 votes. Good job, guys. 7% said yes because they're dumb. And 93% said no. This has 36 comments. Now we're gonna go ahead and read them because I know everyone gets mad that I don't read the comments on the polls.
Well, all of them.
All of them. Joshua Perez says you can't change history. History is history.
Correct.
Right.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. You can change history because
That's revisionist history.
Oh, not really revisionist history because sometimes the history in the first place was wrong. Or
You can't change history, Tony. You can change the story behind what happened.
I mean, you can,
Which is
yeah, but what I'm
You
saying
can't
is,
actually change history.
no, but what I'm saying is, what if the history, when he says, because we're talking books, right? What if what was reported was inaccurately reported originally, and then we go back, well, wait a minute, this is not what happened.
Yeah, you can change how it was reported, but you can't change what actually happened.
Yeah. But I'm saying sometimes that's necessary because sometimes we do report things incorrectly for political or social or
scientific reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because if we never change history, we would still think that there's humors in our blood and then we have to put leeches in our body to suck out the bad.
Well, I think history is meaning an event, something that actually happened.
Yeah, you can't change the event, correct?
Not a theory or a idea or a belief.
Beliefs are historical.
But an author writing a book and then dying and then having somebody else come back later and changing his work, that's
different.
That's different.
Right.
That's changing history.
All right, so Woody says,
right.
Woody says, difficult topic. It is not unusual that books undergo several revisions. I usually prefer that they stay original, but with some additional notes or an additional preamble to put things into context if delicate or necessary. However, there's some good books for children from Astrid Lindgren, for example, that use the N-word in a German translation, and I don't see any reason why they should not be changed. No need to have that word in a book for children, even if you set it into context by a foreword. Okay, so here's something I learned the other day after we went off the air, right?
Mm.
We were talking about Agatha Christie, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So one of her books got changed. And okay, so you know the song 10 Little Indians?
Mm,
Yeah.
I don't know that, but yeah, okay.
You never had that song? Okay.
Well, no,
so
I don't.
It's a children's song, right? 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. Okay. So originally that song was 10 little N-words.
Oh.
Right.
Agatha Christie, she has a book called And Then There Was None. But the original title of the book was a word I can't say.
Right.
So in that case, if they said to you, should we change the title of this book? Agatha Christie's dead. I think, yeah, maybe put a little note on the inside, like this isn't the original name. The original name of the book was whatever. But I think that's good change, right? Good change.
Yeah, who would buy the book if it was, like
you're not going to
the title,
you're not going to be able to buy that off a shelf these days. If they changed the name of Jim and Huckleberry Finn since then.
Did they call it?
Well, we said that there was
Jim.
an asterisk with that if they were to change something for specific reasons, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying there's no asterisk on the revisions of this. It's just
right.
They change it because that would be the title of the song. The last line of the song is "And Then There Were None," and that's what the book has been changed to.
Right.
So,
which I guess makes sense. That actually would be okay. I mean, it's still referencing the thing that it is, but I don't know. Yeah.
There are certain
that's an
words
interesting
I would
case.
be okay. I'd be okay with certain words being taken out of books. But some of the stuff that they've talked about taking out of books is just this pointless. And
yeah, the ones that we highlighted on that stream, yeah, that was like a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think in extreme cases, but I think so to be fair, right? Like the character being N-word Jim,
mm-hmm.
them changing the name, just dropping the N word and just calling him Jim, right? I think that would be fine because it's not necessary. Like you don't need that word. It doesn't explain anything. There's no like.
Right. It's not really relevant to the story, right?
Yeah, you could call him Black Jim, right? If you're like, because that's basically what the N word is denoting,
right?
In that instance, right? Whereas now, if there's a scene where somebody's like, "Hey, you N word, I'm gonna kill you," right? I think you should keep.
Yeah, it's meant with a different.
Yeah.
With a different.
Well, yeah, that might be contextually relevant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. That's a contextual relevance to the story and to that character, and how upset or angry or evil or bad that person is, right?
Right. I think it would have to depend on the context, right? But the thing is, you would have to kind of. There's probably going to be more examples of that then, just because there's certain words that obviously now we wouldn't use, and that's what I was saying. Like, they're probably going to do that with our books today, like in 50 plus years, right?
So we were talking about words. I was just talking words with Nerdette yesterday, right? We're talking woke and stuff, and I had mentioned how sometimes in the local vernacular, certain words mean things, right? And I had mentioned, I said, if you see like a nice looking girl walk down the street, you're like, man, she's got a nice peach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nerdette's like, she didn't know what that referred to.
Peach.
Yeah. She's like, I know the emoji, but I've never heard anybody say that. I was like, really?
Well, I haven't heard anyone say peach, but I would know what they're referring to.
Yeah.
I've heard people say it. Maybe it's
must be a local thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, but even then, people still use the peach emoji to refer to an ass. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like something you would say when no one's around, right? Because obviously we could just say ass, right? But like if you're in a more say public setting, you might be like, she's got a nice peach. Or dumper. She's got a dump truck ass.
Dump truck ass, that's what we say. Dump truck ass.
All right. Gatoroo says, only if the author or successor to whom they've given that trust chooses to. However, I probably wouldn't be against troublesome books receiving a preface that outlines the issues and gives it both a modern and a historical context. Fair enough, but at the same time, I don't know if the successor, like I agree with the author part, maybe, right?
Right.
But it's like the author might give, like, say, if I say, hey, Blinded, you're in charge of my books after I die, right? But don't change anything, right? That's what I tell you. Say, don't change anything. You're in charge. Then I die.
Right.
It's like, well, I'm in charge. Fuck it, I'm changing it, right? Like you're going against my wishes. So
right.
I think it should just be like the author. Maybe he has to write a note so we know. Bellstar said, no, they should just write new books. The thing about old books is that you can really learn a lot about the past, how the culture was, what the mindset of people was back then. I mean, that's a good point.
I brought up the example. There's some old books that you can't. It's just hard to read because of the language. It's not because it says anything offensive.
Yeah, Shakespeare.
And so actually, Shakespeare is a good example, right? So, but you would still read Shakespeare with the original. I was more referring to like there's philosophy books that we couldn't read just because it sounds like nonsense.
Oh, most philosophy books are nonsense.
But the way that it's written, right? Like, so they have to have an updated version where it reads better. So, but I'm sure there's other like historical books that are like that too, right? Yeah. So I don't necessarily agree with that. Maybe for fiction, yeah, but
I think that's what the context really is, because we were talking Agatha Christie when right. Chronic Warlock says we just call it a badunkadunk.
Yeah, badunkadunk.
Honky tonk, badonkadonk. Sweet Tender says, like a certain NES guidebook. Oh, shots fired. Sweaty Jetty says, lol. Johnny Tremaine identifies as a red coat now. And he's also no longer crippled. Johnny Tremaine is a great book if you haven't read it. You might not like it, Finbar, because it's about kicking the ass of all you Brits.
Yeah, I don't like it. Doesn't sound true. Doesn't sound likely.
Well, it's a Revolutionary War era book.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Oyamako says, yeah, I'm looking for the King James version of The Cat in the Hat, please. Yeah, this one isn't approved by my message board minister. Thank you graciously. Myself in Comics says, depends on the context. Andy's Game Room says, rewritten, nope. And Little Movie Perp says, should, nope. But I won't have a problem if they did it as long as the original is still available. Do you consider something like Pride and Prejudice with zombies a rewriting? And no, it's not a rewriting.
That's not a rewriting.
It's like a new book. It's like
that's that's like a parody of a
Yeah, it's like Abraham Lincoln, Zombie Slayer, right? It's like its own thing.
Right. But yeah, that's totally different. We're talking about taking original text and changing it.
All right. Is Jonathan Majors Kang finished in Hollywood? 71 votes. 24% said yes. 27% said no. 49% said yes if he's guilty.
Why did people put no? Isn't that weird? The question is if he's finished in Hollywood. We know that regardless if he's guilty or not.
Well, some people think that even if he's not guilty, that he's not finished.
Yeah, I put no, I think.
I don't understand that. Regardless of what the outcome is, I don't think.
Well, read my comment and you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Okay, let's see. Says, I didn't know you had a comment.
In Hollywood, it's possible for one to choke a bitch and still have a prosperous career. Ezra Miller proved that. That's true.
Yeah, but Ezra Miller is like completely different, though.
Not really.
It is. Really.
It's not. I don't think it is.
Publicly, it is.
Yeah, publicly. Aston says.
What makes it so different then?
Because he's abusing his girlfriend, and you can clearly see the signs that his girlfriend is.
No, that's not different.
Is what Ezra Miller did not as bad?
I don't know if I would say it's not as bad, but I don't think we really knew
we're saying
we knew a lot about Ezra Miller, but it also felt like we knew enough, right?
Here's the question, Blinded. If Jonathan Majors right now gets exonerated 100%, he's cleared of all charges, everything
from the court.
Yeah. Everything is 100% above board. He didn't do any of it.
That would make what Ezra Miller did worse.
Yeah, she's just crazy, and it was proven beyond a shadow of any doubt that he was guilty of anything. He was a completely innocent man. Do you still think he's finished in Hollywood?
No, it would probably take a little bit for him to. I think they would, because this normally happens, right? Even if a person is found guilty, like look at
Yeah, I understand. We're not asking about other people. We're asking about this particular case. Do you think
finished entirely? No. Then yeah, I would say no.
That's why people said no, because they think that he's going to. Some people believe he's innocent and that he's going to be proven to be.
But that's really not in. I mean, if he was, I mean, you kind of have to phrase the question like if he was not guilty.
No, right? Because is he finished? That either way, whatever you believe, do you believe that he's going to be done? And you said no. Why you would think no? Some people would say, well, because that he's innocent, or because Hollywood doesn't care, or because people.
Yeah,
really
that's how I answered it. I didn't.
I think if he's finished, like down, like in the immediate moment, I think he is finished. In the long term, I don't know, because like I said, people come back.
Yeah, finish means finish, like done. You never come.
Well, what's a good example of someone who was like in a domestic abuse situation that, like, I can't remember an example.
I don't know any.
I don't think there is any. I think everybody can come back.
Oh, what's his name?
No. Someone who was like in a.
Didn't the guy who played Thanos? That was his name.
Yeah, but that was proven. Roman. There was some. That was already kind of proven that it wasn't necessarily true.
Right, that's the point.
Right.
He had a domestic, and then it was proven that it wasn't true, and nothing happened to him, right?
Right. That's not how I was framing what I was saying.
Jonathan
But
Majors probably did it, right?
I was trying to say someone, because that really didn't ruin his career,
Well,
like
this
for
hasn't
Josh
ruined his
Brolin.
career yet either.
So what I was trying to say is someone who would be finished in where it's like, oh snap, he's not found guilty, right? But then Hollywood doesn't just like quickly snap you back up,
Johnny
right?
Depp.
But that hasn't really happened though. Like we would have to see him in a movie for that to be like, okay, everything's fine, right?
Well, he did just get cast in something, did he?
Did he? I mean, he probably is getting stuff back, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Johnny Depp is probably the closest example. I mean, I was trying to find someone that was like very like specific, where it's like because of domestic abuse, like I think some people do see it like very differently. That's why I say that Ezra Miller is kind of different, because they never really pinned down Ezra Miller on one particular thing. They were like, oh shit, right? Like the whole grooming thing, that was never like they never pushed on that angle so much. So it was just sort of buried in the things that he did, right? Like, oh, he assaulted this girl, right? And then he was robbing people at this bar, and then he was getting to different fights. So there's so many different things he was doing, where it's like when you hear domestic abuse, it's usually like, oh shit, right? Like this guy's beating her around, pushing her around, and she could be just like taking it, right? So like I think people might be a little bit hesitant
Chris Brown.
because then Chris Brown is probably like the go-to example of like someone who rebound from his,
and he was guilty.
Yeah, and he was guilty,
Yeah.
right?
So there you go.
And he beat the shit out of her. It wasn't just like
Right.
choked her.
I mean, look at Ike Turner. He wasn't finished.
Mm. But even then, I would say like an actor, because like we were what were we saying on Monday? I was saying something like, because of like he's an actor and you see him on screen, right? It's kind of different from like Chris Brown, because you could just listen to his music and not really care, but you have to sort of somewhat care about the person who's performing on screen, right? You're seeing their face, right? You're seeing their emotions, so there's some sort of connection there.
I don't think there's really been any domestic abuse. People.
Yeah, because it's usually this either the like there's some crazy examples where someone gets murdered, right?
Yeah.
But then it's always like shaky, and then the actor disappears anyway. But I don't really think, even if he's guilty or not, like it's not going to be the same for him.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, Aston Vandal says his lawyer released some text messages the other day. We went over them.
Right.
Yeah.
They look shady,
didn't they?
Yeah. And he says, from what they say, they don't really help him out anyway. That's what I said. Said they didn't really help him out.
They don't. It doesn't. Yeah.
Chris Brown had female fan base who didn't care. Yeah, and so does this guy, has a pretty big female fan base.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. How long do you think Amico Forever will be on hiatus? A week or two? 4%. A few months? 8%. Forever. 88%.
Forever.
90 votes.
Who couldn't pick forever? I mean, like.
And so Sucker MC says, can't believe DJC quit his job to do full time because of the Amico. From what I understand, he was laid off. It wasn't a quit.
No.
But that is from an unverified crazy person, so who knows? They'll come back when Tommy returns to the Amico spotlight, which will be never, because he abandoned them like a box full of kittens on an old dirt road.
Plus, he'll be living in Chile at that point as well.
Yeah. Andy Author says, until the Intellivision Amico is released. Josh Simpson says, it's on hiatus? Oh, my God. And then X the Owl says, I thought it was Amico Forever, not Amico for a while. All right. That was the end of our polls. I will direct you to Justin Proper's Blinded. You left and came back.
Oh.
Yeah. We could have a talk
my
on
internet or something.
Yeah. So I was on Justin Proper's This Week in Bullshit. We talked about Kanye West liking Jewish people again, thanks to 21 Jump Street. And we talked about some other things. Don't watch the very end because there's some very what's the word I'm looking for? Problematic. Yeah, there's a lot of problematic jokes at the very end of the show. I want to skip that.
We make a lot of problematic jokes through this show anyway. So
that's true. That is our audience. And then I was on Nerdette. That was a 2-hour stream. Thunderdome. We discussed what is woke, why it's bad. I gave
what is woke.
Solid definition of woke. What is woke? It's an umbrella term.
Umbrella term for everything now?
No, it's an umbrella term for certain. Here, I'm getting the definition that I used. The definition that I used was, all right, woke is the belief that there's a problem based on your ideological beliefs with an entertainment product that must be fixed and can only be fixed by inserting your ideology either directly into the product or into the production process of the product. So that would be the umbrella term, right? So then like race swapping in order to increase representation would be an example of what is woke, right?
Right. Actually, that might be probably the best definition I've heard of what woke is.
Well, thank you.
But you could use that definition the other way around, and if you made Black Panther a white guy, you could call that woke by that definition.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, by that definition, yeah.
But it would have to be
someone
for political beliefs, political or social ideology, right? Just making it white or just making a character black. And the example I gave is like, let's say Bollywood wants to make a Captain America movie, right?
Right.
So they cast all Indian actors. I wouldn't call that woke because
you couldn't.
It's a Bollywood production, right? Of course they're Indian actors.
Right. It would be your cast, you're race swapping a character because of diversity or
representation.
Lack thereof. Yeah.
What's another better way of saying it? Like
to meet a quota.
Yeah, I guess we'll just go with that.
All those token characters. So that was the definition I used. That's what we discussed. It's 2 hour. It's a pretty good discussion. I didn't yell at her. She didn't yell at me.
So, well, she's always kind of yelling, isn't she?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think it was a pretty good and fun conversation. You know, it's hard sometimes having conversations, you know, because people on the far end of the spectrum, whether it's far left or far right, like they don't want to have a conversation, right? They just want to yell and scream. And we have people who are making money based on yelling and screaming. They don't want to have a conversation either, right? Because they never want to give an inch. They don't want to be like, no, you might have a point. Yeah, you're right. That's okay that they did this because of X, right? No, you gotta keep your audience mad to keep rolling in them bucks. And that's why people like me, people like Nerdette, you know, we might have a small audience, but we're never going to get a giant audience because we're not keeping you guys angry. We're not directing you at a common enemy. We're not going, hey, those are the guys that you need to be mad at, and let's all fire Kathleen Kennedy because the force isn't female. She's getting fired any day now. Yeah. 21 Jump Street, helping Jewish people one day at a time. So that's it. That's everything. We'll be sure to have more polls this week. Again, I've been slacking a lot, but I'll try to do better.
You say this every couple of weeks, Tony.
I know, I do. This time I mean it. I swear
to it. You're never gonna get better.
No, man.
It's probably true. But I can try.
Yeah.
Try.
You can consider maybe trying.
That sounds better.
All right. Anything else you got?
I think that's it.
Anything, Finbar?
Nah, I've run out of time anyway, as it is.
All right. Well, then in that case, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.
Peace.